Offer ends 4/6/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Black Horse Pike in Harbor Township.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
South Jersey's home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, me too.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Blatt Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig here in the Matt Blatt Kia Studios on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. Filling in for Mike Gill one more day. He'll be back from his vacation on Monday's show. So we have one more day together, 2 to 6 here on 97.3 ESPN. Happy Hour Friday, as Mike likes to call it. Busy show still to come. Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City at 2:40. Ryan Rothstein, former co-host here on 97.3 ESPN, now host of the CityCast, will join us for the 3 o'clock hour. Adam Caplan, Football and Forward, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Inside the Sixers with Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers at 4:40 p.m. And Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports NFL at 5:25. A lot to get to today. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973 is the text board, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Sea City. I do have some reaction to the Deshaun Watson press conference in just a bit. Also, we know that the NFL continues to spin and turn. If there are any news or breaking stories, we will get to them as soon as we can here on the show this afternoon. It typically feels like every Friday for the last several weeks that there's some news that happens on a Friday afternoon that we weren't expecting. So I think that those are a lot of things to keep an eye on throughout the day. Also, Sixers are in LA tonight. Sweet 16 continues tonight. Of course, you can hear all of the Sweet 16 here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I know for many of you out there, St. Peter's playing in Philadelphia tonight. I know of some people who have tickets going up to the games tonight to see St. Peter's take on Purdue. And then the second game in the slate up at Philadelphia is North Carolina, UCLA. So we'll talk about the tournament as well throughout the show. I want to start with specifically last night, because when you're watching the NCAA tournament, I think that there are two things that have become very obvious to me. The first thing has become very, very obvious to me, and that is college basketball is so much different than when I was younger. And I don't want to come off as the get off my lawn guy when I say this, but when I was younger, college basketball was so much more of a refined game. You know, the isms I used to hear when I was younger, you know, when you would talk to basketball fans in different eras, the people who loved college basketball was because the college basketball game was supposed to be the more fundamental game, the game that was more tight in terms of, like, you know, the quality of the game and less fluid on the edges. You know, it was dominated by great coaches. It was dominated by the best guards. The tournament was where the best guards showed out. The tournament was where the cream rose to the top. And I got to tell you guys, and this has nothing to do with, you know, any bets I have or my brackets or anything, but as a general principle, I feel like college basketball is in a state that we just have no idea anymore what is going on. I literally am just going into these games wanting to be entertained, and I am being entertained, but the only game last night that really played out the way I thought it was Villanova, Michigan. I thought the game was going to be close early on and Villanova would pull it out in the end, and that's pretty much what happened. But the problem is the other two games, I'm still confused what happened. You know, Gonzaga is supposed to have two of the top 10 players in the country on their team, and they got outworked, outplayed, outcoached by an Arkansas team that wasn't even one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the SEC this year. You know, talent-wise, Kentucky and LSU have better talent on their teams than Arkansas does. But Arkansas goes in there and they outplayed Gonzaga for the entire game. Look at the Houston game. I was telling Julian Edlow from DraftKings yesterday, Arizona is supposed to be the best talent in the country, the best collection of talent. They got outworked, outplayed by Houston all night long. Arizona looked dazed and confused half the night. And then the Duke-Texas Tech game, you know, Texas Tech is one of the best defensive teams in the country. And it seemed like after the first 10 minutes, Texas Tech was the meme of the guy who throws the papers in the air and says, you know, I'm out, and then realizes he needs to pick up the papers because he just made a mess. That's what Texas Tech was last night. It's like at one point they just gave up trying, and then they realized, oh, yeah, we have a basketball game to play in the second half. I mean, Texas Tech goes into halftime with a lead, and they came out in the second half looking like they went out and got, you know, trashed at the bar during the break. It's like they ran across the street, you know, pounded a few shots, came back and forgot they had a game to play. Like they started celebrating before the game was over. And I'm not trying to sound like the old man get off my lawn, but I got to tell you guys, from a basketball perspective, for as great and as exciting and as fun the first 4 days of the tournament was, I was just confused last night. And I'm disappointed because part of the thing with sports is the majority of sports fans are not the person who watches every game psychotically like I do. The majority of you people listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM, or you're listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, or wherever, maybe you're on 97.3 ESPN.com, wherever you're listening to the sound of my voice, many of you don't have the time or the desire to research things like I do, and you turn on 97.3 ESPN FM, you turn on a sports network on television, you pull up a website because you want information. And all the information we were told that we put out there was wrong last night for the most part. I mean, okay, Arkansas covered the first half spread. We gave you that pick yesterday, but I'm not going to sit here and act like that's a win because the rest of the game made no sense. I'm just disappointed that college basketball used to be something that when you got to the Sweet 16, you had an idea of who the best teams were. And I just got to say, last night, I don't know what I was watching half the night. Texas Tech lost their marbles. Arizona looked dazed and confused. And Gonzaga almost looked like they quit at one point. Like they quit playing basketball. So I just hope that I'm a little more entertained with tonight's games. You know, I was so excited for the Sweet 16. And by the end of the night, I just wanted to stiff drink and go to sleep. Like that's where my mind went. I was like, well, I lost part of my life watching these games. Now, look, I'm still convinced that St. Peter's is going to make a game of this with Purdue tonight. I'm still convinced North Carolina is going to win versus UCLA because of the Bruins injuries. I'm still convinced that Iowa State and Miami is probably going to be the least appealing of the 4 games tonight. And I'm also convinced that Kansas is not that good and Providence can win. So hopefully the movie trailer preview matches what we see tonight. I've used this analogy before for you guys. When it comes to sports, there's a part of you that wants to know about what am I walking into? What am I looking forward to? What am I buying into, right? And last night, the previews didn't match the movie. We'll talk more tournament a little bit later in the show. Of course, Ryan Rothstein from the CityCast. We'll talk a lot of Sixers and NCAA tournament basketball and more with him. In the NFL news, and we can't escape this because the Deshaun Watson press conference was on here in the studio for me before we came on the air. I got to say, the Browns should be embarrassed of themselves. And Deshaun Watson is obviously not getting the best advice. I don't understand why anybody doesn't have a better explanation for what happened. They're throwing out numbers like 40 massage people, 5 years in Houston. I can't go too far into the details. I said heard multiple times. At some point, is anyone going to give us a straight answer? Like, I had to wait for months to hear from Deshaun Watson. I've heard from him twice, and I have no more or less confidence in my opinion of him now than I did before. I think it's very obvious that when it comes to Cleveland, one, the fact that the owners of the Cleveland Browns had no interest in being at this press conference shows you that they're pathetic. The fact that the GM and the head coach really couldn't give you a good explanation except for that Deshaun Watson's a really good quarterback for why they brought him in here. And even when Andrew Berry, the GM, was asked about the guaranteed money, that answer was weak. It was just a weak press conference. I don't know how some of these PR people and these agents and these people get jobs, but I gotta say, if you are a person who has a mind that is not pathetic, you should maybe consider a career change, because apparently people who are PR people and representative agents in today's world, they're dumb. You can't go in front of the media and give these nondescript answers every 5 seconds. It's an absolute joke that we are in a situation where the organization that came out and said, we want a quarterback who's an adult in the room, themselves couldn't be adults. And the excuse was, well, there's an ongoing legal situation. We know there's an ongoing legal situation. That's why half the world was at this press conference asking questions. I can't stand people who use Captain Obvious answers as a reason to not answer a question. The Browns ownership should be embarrassed right now. Deshaun Watson obviously has no remorse over anything. I mean, that dude said multiple times he doesn't regret anything. You regret nothing? You think that all of this is just made up? You just woke up one day and the world hated you? You think that's how this works? And then the GM. I mean, the explanation about how they got the information they needed, the Browns are a pathetic organization. And I hate saying this because my buddy Andy McNamara from Sportsnet is a diehard Browns fan. I hope the Browns fail miserably for the next 5 years. Because they have just been pathetic through this whole process. They throw Baker Mayfield under the bus after he played through injuries. They go out and get a guy who doesn't really have a good explanation for why he did what he did. And on top of all of that, I'm supposed to sit here and believe that the Browns are adults when their own owners can't show up to answer questions or even make a statement? The team attorney advised us against reaching out directly to the accusers. Who's the team attorney? That's what I want to know. The head coach says, I have confidence in the extensive work our team put in. What extensive work? Anybody listening to the sound of my voice could have done the same work they did. And how about the turn from Andrew Berry, the GM? It's been a 5-month odyssey. Well, hold on. Time out. This is March, February, January, December, November. You're telling me that they've been considering doing this since October? In the middle of the season? When we found out that Baker Mayfield was playing with a ripped up, non-throwing shoulder and he was trying to play through the pain? And you know what else is pathetic by the Browns? At no point did anyone address the other point of interest. This is an organization that gave Kareem Hunt a second chance. The same Kareem Hunt who was on video assaulting somebody. The same Kareem Hunt who was suspended. Think about this. Just process this information. The Browns claim that they do their homework. But at no point did anyone say, hey, we've been through this situation before with another player, where another player was accused of something, and it's a case where we have actual evidence of Kareem Hunt assaulting people. People forget Kareem Hunt was in that video attacking a woman. He was in that video assaulting other people involved. He right crosses somebody. I mean, it was an absolute disaster of a situation. You know, he tackles the one woman. Just think about this for a minute. Kicks another person. That's your Browns. You want to know why the Browns brought in Deshaun Watson? Because they don't care. They're so desperate to win a Super Bowl, they'll bring in anybody as long as they have talent. You know, people jokingly say, I'm going to go out and have a drink and make some bad decisions. But their bad decisions don't get caught on film attacking people in a hotel. Their bad decisions don't involve 22 women accusing you of sexual assault. Those accusations are way different. Those situations are way different than anything. You know, for example, I mentioned the Walter Payton book yesterday. There were things that Walter Payton said and did during his career that would have made me uncomfortable if I was his friend. These are things that Kareem Hunt did and Deshaun Watson is accused of that I couldn't be friends with the person. But yeah, I'm just supposed to exist here to accept all of this vomit from the Browns. This is why I said yesterday and the day before, the Philadelphia Eagles and their fans should be counting their blessings today because you avoided this train wreck. You have an organization in the Dolphins that sacrificed 5 draft picks for a wide receiver and then gave him the largest contract ever given to a wide receiver in NFL history. So they're paying now and in the future for something that may or may not work. There's no guarantee that Tyreek Hill is going to continue to be Tyreek Hill long term. It's a lot of money to guarantee to a guy. It's a lot of draft capital to give up for a player who's not a quarterback, who's not one of the best defensive players in the league. If you're telling me the Dolphins got Aaron Donald for 5 draft picks and made him the highest paid player at his position, I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. Tyreek Hill? And then you get the Browns. The Browns sold their soul to the devil. The Browns basically don't care about character. All they care about is trying to win football games. And the problem is there's no guarantee they're going to win any football games because, one, the AFC is absolutely stacked. The majority of the AFC can win a Super Bowl. Think about it. The Ravens got better this offseason. The Bengals won the Super Bowl. They got better this offseason. The Patriots, they got better on their offensive line this offseason. The Bills are still out there. The Chargers got better this offseason. And they got a young, rising quarterback as well. Patrick Mahomes is still in Kansas City. In Kansas City, I believe they said on SportsCenter this morning that Kansas City has 5 picks in the top 100 in this year's draft. I mean, they might as well just reload at this point. The Raiders, they're better. I think it's safe to assume that Josh McDaniels will be better his second time around as a head coach than his first time. The Broncos got Russell Wilson. The Colts got Matt Ryan, and he's certainly an upgrade over Carson Wentz out in Indianapolis. So the Browns are selling their soul to win, and there's no clear path to victory for them. Happy trails with that. We'll get to your thoughts and comments on the other side. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Still to come, Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City joins us at 2:40 p.m. Again, Ryan Rothstein from the CityCast will join us for the 3 o'clock hour. Adam Caplan, NFL Insider for football at 4. Paul Hudrick, Inside the Sixers, will join us at 4:40 p.m. And Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, at 5:25. Also to come here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday.
From the first 4 to the final 4. Whoa! Listen to the NCAA tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
Discover thousands of dollars in new tax credits with Jackson Hewitt. Get a head start on your taxes. Schedule an appointment with a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro and learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved with 0 down, 0.9% financing for 60 months, or $1,000 cash back at Matt Blatt Kia on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released, so bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. $1,705 per $1,000 for 60 months. $1,000 off all 2022 Stingers. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 4/6/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. It doesn't matter how big or small your business is. If you're a plumber, roofer, electrician, or remodeler, your business earns back when you spend, gets exclusive offers, and paint rewards. It all adds up to help drive your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program today. Minimum purchase required. Earnings and paint rewards awarded as Lowe's e-gift cards. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
South Jersey Advanced Health Solutions. South Jersey's premier clinic for allergy elimination and Lyme disease. Effective treatment of chronic mold and all food and environmental allergies. And the only clinic in New Jersey to fully treat the red meat allergy known as alpha-gal. Specializing in allergy elimination, Lyme disease, fertility, autoimmune autoimmune disorders, adult and childhood ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, insomnia, headaches, and all types of pain. Contact them today, 856-285-4788 to start feeling better, or visit them online at sjadvancehealth.com.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and zero delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and zero delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
Progressive Fence and Rail. Fencing, railing, shower enclosures for home builders and homeowners. Customized just for you. Awnings and decks, yeah, we do those too. Yeah. We get it done right. We get it done fast. With quality products built to last. If you need help around the outside of your home, the only name you need to know is ProgressiveFenceandRail.com.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hi, it's Rick. I'm at the Smith home. Where's Donnie?
Leaves and autumn bookings pile up for Rick's gutter cleaning service.
He's out? Come on.
He needs help before his bottom line gets clogged.
Okay, well, what about Cristiano? We still got 6 houses today.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. The plot thickens in college basketball as we get down to 8 teams by Friday night, and then by the end of the weekend, we'll be left with 4. In the NBA, the Nets have the second best odds to win it all, and the Heat are not far behind. These 2 teams face each other in Miami on Saturday in a possible playoff preview. And on Sunday, championship favorites, the Phoenix Suns, host the 76ers. Be sure to check the Caesars Sportsbook app for all the latest odds, boosts, and promos. Caesars Sportsbook, your app is ready, Emperor. Download it.
Let me be real with you people. The casino games on my app are real. The slots are real. The blackjack is real. It's just like you're in a casino for real, which is awesome. But if I'm going to be real, you can't feed other players to the Tigers when they win, and I miss that. Caesar is keeping it real, baby.
Must be 21. Offer valid in New Jersey only for new players. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? New Jersey and Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
We'll get you guys' thoughts and comments here. Some people are not thrilled with some of my opinions. Some of you agree, some of you disagree. With all of you folks right now here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. The 2 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by AC Airport. Plan your spring break getaway. Create memories that last a lifetime. Start with nonstop flights from Atlantic City to Cancun, San Juan, and Miami. Book your low-cost flight now at Spirit.com. Over on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, Mike from Mays Landing says there's been plenty of players in the NFL over the years making similar or questionable choices. It's not just the Browns. They're not doing anything that other teams aren't. But that's a little misleading, Mike. Okay? There's a huge difference between having the video in your hand of Kareem Hunt and knowing that a similar video just a couple of years earlier was out there of Ray Rice. Ray Rice got blackballed from the NFL. Nobody wanted anything to do with him ever again. Kareem Hunt's got a video, gets suspended, is allowed back in. Greg Hardy was basically too much of a disaster to stay in the NFL, even though the Cowboys gave him one more shot. And now he's a failure as an MMA fighter. The NFL is full of inconsistencies. Yes, there are players that have made questionable choices, but I have trouble putting questionable choices in the same realm as 22 women are accusing you of sexual harassment and assault. Those are just two different things. Now, to me, as I explained to you guys yesterday, there's a lot of layers to this thing. Obviously, a second grand jury has decided to not indict him on criminal charges, which means the accusations against Deshaun Watson are less of a concrete evidence and more of a her word against him kind of situation. So, yes, we do need to keep that in mind. But the problem is that when you have an organization that gives the largest guaranteed money to a pro athlete in NFL history, over $200 million guaranteed, and your explanations were that weak, that's not just NFL teams making similar questionable choices with players who are also making questionable choices. It's the fact that the Browns have now done this twice with this ownership. Remember, when the Eagles brought in Michael Vick, he went to jail. He served time. He didn't come out of jail and immediately get a big contract. He had to prove and earn his reputation again. Again, to me, it's a little different. Jim in Ocean View says Deshaun Watson and Cleveland deserve each other. Just a matter of time before another incident occurs. I mean, I won't go as far as say another incident, Jim, but I think that, as I said, Deshaun Watson can get up there and say, I'm innocent all he wants, but the explanation for how he got into that situation, that's what's problematic. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973, texter says, would you feel the same way if Atlanta or New Orleans or Carolina signed Watson instead of Cleveland? Also, people forget about Ben Roethlisberger. He assaulted a woman. Now everyone wants him in the Hall of Fame. So those are two different things. First of all, I would feel the same way if it was Atlanta and New Orleans and Carolina, if their explanation was as weak as Cleveland, and if they also gave him $200+ million guaranteed money. When the NFL is still doing their investigation of him, he might get suspended still. There's a story that he might get put on the commissioner's exempt list. He might even play for X number of games this year. So you gave up assets, you traded for him, and now he might not play. Atlanta would have been a little bit more digestible because Deshaun knows the owner. He's from that area. New Orleans, they desperately need a quarterback. Carolina, they need a quarterback. It's in the South. He wants to be in the South. It's where he's from. But the whole Cleveland thing just screams just either tone deaf, disingenuous, something. You basically overpaid to get him. And now your explanation is we feel comfortable with our investigative results. That's kind of weak. Texter says, Josh, you've been doing a great job hosting this week. I want to know, in your opinion, what would have been the proper answers from Deshaun and the Browns? That is an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. To me, first of all, Deshaun's answer should have been, okay, there are 22 women accusing me, and I've had 40 different massage people over the course of time. And the reason I've had that is because not scheduling conflicts, not things I don't want to get into right now, and I'll explain it later. No, you get into it now. You get into it and explain, look, I DM'd this girl in a private DMs because for whatever reason, you thought she was cute, a friend told you about her, whatever. Just be honest. Why did you reach out to all these women? Why do other athletes explain? Why do other athletes only have one or two people who take care of their massages, who are their masseuses, and you've had 40 different ones? explain, help us understand why this is not a big deal. Help people understand, why are 22 women accusing you? Deshaun could have turned around and said, well, I've had 40 different massage people. Only 22 of them are accusing me. So basically, half of them said I did something wrong. Half of them have not said anything wrong. And then emphasize, I'm not settling with these women. I'm trying to prove my innocence. Explain to people, I don't know, maybe you don't want to get in too much detail, but you can explain to people why, more and more detail. Now, obviously, probably his lawyer or his agent told him not to. Now, for the Browns side, you got to explain why you felt okay giving him $200 million. Guaranteed. Say something like, look, Deshaun's track record before he had these accusations were of a high character young man who helps out in the community. And we feel from our evidence that this is $200 million worth pouring into him. Again, there's ways to explain these things. All right, we'll get more of your messages a little bit later in the show. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City coming up on the other side. We'll chat with him about the Sixers, about the Phillies, and more right here. Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill on a Friday edition here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
Sports.
The first touchdown of Devontae Smith's NFL career.
Scores.
The catch, the shot, the three, swing.
Updates.
Oh, big save by Carter.
Hear about it as it happens and when it happens on 97.3 ESPN.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Buzzer beaters and bracketologists, leprechauns and green beer. One more nor'easter snowstorm. You know they're going to happen in March. You just don't know when.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Every day, all month at Matt Blatt Nissan. New 2022 Titan trucks. $5,000 off. Plus, AJ, the trade man, will get you more for your trade. So you can drive a brand new Nissan with 0 down and pay 0% interest on every new Nissan in stock. Lease the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier S 4x4 King Cab. Just $279 per month with 0 security deposit. Plus, with a Matt Blatt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. Next equity will be refinanced against the vehicle. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year lease. Plus tax tag and $479. Offers can be combined. Selling price MSRP 6140. Then NN 532176. MSRP 33940. Then NN 632542. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 4/6/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Black Horse Pike. In Harbor Township.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with making your yard happy. Protect your garden beds with your favorite color of premium mulch at the everyday low price of $368. Step up your curb appeal with our Greenworks 1800 PSI electric pressure washer, now only $99. Make your yard shine this spring and create a season full of happiness. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/24 through 3/30. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
Trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Homeowners, no need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Call Jenkins. One call does it all. Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all. You'll only have to call one number, 609-641-6262. Jenkins & Sons have been on the job since 1949. Renovating your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services. Jenkins can also repair or replace your water or sewer main. One call does it all. Call 609-641-6262 or jenkinsandsons.com.
Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. We're always here for you. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. We're always here for you.
Introducing Venture X, Capital One's new travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
This week's feature bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill, Friday edition. Mike will be back on Monday as he's got to be on his vacation this week. 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Sixers continue their road trip, NCAA tournament in full effect. All that and more right now. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City joins us right now here on 97.3 ESPN, and it's his birthday. So, Mike, happy birthday. How you doing?
I appreciate that, Josh. And Josh, why don't you get a vacation? Why is Gil always off? I mean, he's off more than Johnny Carson, for God's sakes. You know?
I will refer that question to my lawyers, like Deshaun Watson did, and that is a comment that cannot be brought up on this microphone.
All right, there you go.
So, Mike, let's start with the tournament. I saw on Twitter you were very actively tweeting about the tournament last night. I got to admit, though, the only game I really felt like that went as I expected was Villanova, Michigan. I felt the other three games, it felt like everything I thought I knew about those teams just didn't happen.
Yeah, again, I thought it was another great night of college basketball. And my biggest takeaway is, boy, Gonzaga. If they weren't going to get it done this year with a guy like Drew Timme in the lineup and also with a top 3 pick, obviously in Holmgren in the lineup too, if they weren't going to get and win the title this year and kind of knock down the door, I don't know when they're going to do it. So a big loss for them. And the other thing is, I'm certainly no Duke fan. It's kind of like rooting for the New York Yankees or the Dallas Cowboys, but I do find myself, strangely kind of pulling, in Coach K's final days as coach that, for Duke to keep going and for Duke to win. I just think the Duke kids are playing under a tremendous microscope, and they're playing so hard. And they obviously don't want to be the team that, didn't get it done or lost Coach K's last game. Now, eventually, that's probably going to happen. I don't know if they're going to win it all, but, the way they played against Michigan State, the way they played last night against Texas Tech, it's hard not to root for a team that's playing as hard as they are and showing as much heart as the Duke kids are.
When you think about it also, because And listen, I'm going to be mean. I want Coach K's run to end at some point because I'm tired of hearing about this is his last Sweet 16, his last game, everything is his last. I have nothing against the guy. I'm just getting fatigued about how everything is the last and then put in the next category for Coach K. Like, we know. It's the greatest unknown secret in the world, Mike. Coach K is retiring.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, even as I said, a tough program to root for at times because it was like the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Yankees. I mean, he's going to be missed when he's gone. There's no denying what he's accomplished in 40 years of coaching college basketball, and his impact. I mean, he's one of the legends of the game. And, it's going to be an adjustment not having him on the sidelines basically next year. So it is going to be, it kind of hit you last night when they're down in the second half. Is this it? Are you never going to see him again on the sidelines or coaching a team? And you mentioned a birthday there. It makes me feel a little old because I can remember when Krzyzewski first got hired at Duke, and I lived in Staten Island, and in one of his first few seasons, he lost to Wagner College of Staten Island. So in a regular season game. So that shows you just how far that Duke program has come under him. And honestly, I couldn't believe I was joking with someone last night. It's been 30 years since the Leitner game at the Spectrum, and you got games at the Wachovia Center, the Wells Fargo Center tonight. That doesn't even seem like it was 30 years ago, but time goes by very quickly.
Speaking of the games tonight, obviously, I mean, I know some people who are going up there tonight. St. Peter's, they won Atlantic City. They're on this Cinderella run. I think, Mike, they can play a close game with Purdue. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Peter's wins tonight.
Yeah, my only thought about that, and obviously St. Peter's, we kind of feel like they're our hometown team here for two reasons. Is one, this run started at Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, so it's kind of natural for folks around here to adopt them. And two, Umar Shannon, 2009 Atlantic City High School graduate, who I wrote about earlier this week, is an assistant coach on that team. So there's a pretty big local connection there with those two factors. I just worry about in playing Purdue. I think Purdue has a lottery pick in the guard or a guy who's near a lottery pick in the point guard. And kind of Purdue does what St. Peter's does, right? They play defense, they defend, they're physical, they're patient on offense. And I think Purdue kind of does that with bigger and better and stronger players. So I think what St. Peter's does well, Purdue might just do a little better. So I don't know if the matchup is the greatest for St. Peter's, but obviously, it would be great if, the 15th-seeded Peacocks could continue to move on here in this event.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City joining us here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can follow Mike on Twitter at ACPressMcGarry. You can go wish him a happy birthday in your own spare time as well. Mike, the Sixers are still continuing the road trip tonight with the Clippers. But Wednesday was an interesting game, shall I call it? No LeBron, which was surprising to me. And then the Sixers started out just so erratic in that first half. They found a way to win. Do we give them the thumbs up for finding a way to win, or do we still have questions?
Well, I think, anytime you win, it's a good deal. But again, as I kind of wrote today, and I think we talked about the other day, Josh, I don't know what to make of this NBA regular season. I'm kind of throwing my hands up in the air, and I'm not going to make any judgments about the 76ers. Here's what I do know. I do know that they're better equipped to succeed in the playoffs with James Harden than they are with Joel and than with Ben Simmons, rather. The combination of Harden and Embiid is a better combination than Simmons and Embiid. So I think they're better set for the playoffs. Now, are they a perfect basketball team? No. Could they use some more shooters? Absolutely. Do they have those shooters? No. So, they're going to go into the playoffs with some weaknesses. But here, I know two factors. One, they're better set, I believe, for the playoffs with Harden. And two, their record with Harden is pretty good. I realize he hasn't played great every single game. And I think the other night he ended up with 24, and I don't think he played great in that game too. I think he had some stretches where he kind of struggled, but he still had 24 points and they won. So I think this going day to day with the 76ers and saying Harden did this and Harden did that, They're better set for the playoffs with Harden. And you know what? Their regular season record is pretty darn good when James Harden and Joel Embiid play together. So that's that, and just getting to the playoffs healthy, I think is, the main factor there. And I think once the playoff comes, then we're going to be able to sit back and really analyze and see what the Sixers are all about.
Does it matter to you if the Sixers get home court in the playoffs, or do you think it's kind of negligible because of the way this NBA season is going?
I think it's negligible because of the way the season has gone. I also, Josh, don't think that home court advantage is what it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. I think all these arenas are very much the same. You watch the NBA season pass and they show the scenes in the arena because they don't show all the commercials, and they're all doing the same thing. It's all 5,000 people on the court, announcers screaming at you, mascots all over the place, T-shirts and hot dogs being thrown in the stands, music at ear-shattering decibel level, the dance cam, the Carlton cam, all this stuff. They're all the same. So it's not like you're walking into the Boston Garden or the old Spectrum with fans 2 feet from the court, and a crowd in Philadelphia or Boston is going to be different than, 5,000 people in Los Angeles or Milwaukee on a Tuesday night. I don't think home court advantage is what it once was. I think the best thing for the Sixers to do is to be healthy going into the playoffs. And we saw last year, what did home court mean last year? They were number 1 seed. It didn't mean much in Game 7.
Yeah, my only concern, Mike, is I'm less concerned about the home court advantage. I'm more concerned about who they face in the playoffs. Because to me, if you asked me who I think is coming out of the East, I'm still saying I would put probably the Bucks, and I probably put maybe the Heat ahead of the Sixers, although who knows really going on down there in Miami with Heat culture.
Don't forget about the Boston Celtics. They might be playing as well as anybody in the East right now over the past, month and a half of the season. I kind of agree with you right now. I believe the Sixers would be matched up with Milwaukee, I believe, in that second round. And it would be a matter of if the Sixers could catch them and get home court, or Milwaukee would have home court. Again, I think I'd rather be healthy going into that situation. I just think any one of those teams can catch us. So I don't know if seeding this year is that big because, like you said, I still believe Miami could probably catch you, Milwaukee could catch you, Boston could catch you, and Brooklyn could also probably beat you. I don't think the other teams have enough sort of firepower to sort of contend with those 4, basically.
Mike, before I let you go, I thought you tweeted out a very interesting tweet yesterday about the most valuable MLB franchises. And I looked at the list and I realized there's one team on the list that doesn't belong. The Angels haven't been to a World Series in the last 17, 18 years. Meanwhile, every other team on that list has either been to the World Series or they've won a World Series.
Yeah, I think that's more a function of the market and where they are, right? In Anaheim, about 30 minutes south of Los Angeles, right there. My point in sort of tweeting that out, Josh, is I hear a lot of people criticizing baseball, trying to tell me that, basketball is more popular than baseball. And definitely we all know football is king and basically, but saying that, baseball is this and baseball's dying here and the game's so boring. And then you look at what those franchises are worth. And, you sort of realize that the sport, although it's definitely changed from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s when they considered a national pastime, although I will tell people to go back into Baseball Reference and look at the attendance figures in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when baseball sort of ruled the world. You might be surprised about how the attendance figures back then compares to the way it is now. But I think baseball is more than fine. And, the value of those franchises, including the Philadelphia Phillies, like I said in the tweet, I wouldn't mind being the owner of one of those baseball teams. It would smooth out a lot of rough spots, basically.
Yeah, baseball's not dead. And I agree with you on that. I just think that there's a middle ground between the people who say baseball is dead. And I'm not pointing at you, but there's a middle ground between those people and the people who are like, baseball is the best. And I'm just like, there's a middle ground there. It's like the person who wants to throw in my face that, soccer, FIFA is one of the largest money makers in the world. And I'm like, yeah, but nobody's watching in this country half the time.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, baseball is what it is. To me, people say it takes, 9 hours. They don't have 4 hours to watch a baseball game or something like that. To me, baseball is kind of something when I'm home, it's kind of in the background. I might watch the first 2 innings, go out, do something, listen to an inning in the car, come back in, check in on the score. Oh, it's the 8th inning. Oh, the Phillies are up 4-3 on the Mets. Let me watch the last inning and a half, basically. It's not until you get to the postseason that I really, when I'm not covering a game, that I really sit down and dial in for 9 innings of baseball, basically. To me, it's sort of the soundtrack to your summer. It's always there. It's played every day. It has a huge value. And that's what I meant, when people claim, some people talk like the sport's going out of business. And obviously, if you looked at the value of those franchises, you would realize that's not the case.
Yeah, Philly's worth $2.3 billion.
Right.
Not
And the
bad.
Yankees worth something like $6 billion.
Well, we all know the Yankees are number one. But I mean, yeah, like I said, I just looked at the list. The first thing I thought of was, man, the Angels got on this list. Like,
yeah, well, that's probably the market of Los Angeles, too. I mean, look, you say what you want about baseball, but the biggest, some of the biggest franchises in the world, not just the United States of America, the world, are baseball teams. The Yankees, the Los Angeles Dodgers. These are teams that have, brand recognition, around the world and not just in the United States. So I kind of always chuckle when people tell me that the game's losing fans or it's losing interest or, again, people acting like, baseball's going out of business in basically 2 weeks, like a furniture store on the corner. There's a guy waving a board there or urging people to come in and get tickets to see, the Yankees play for the last time. I mean, it's ridiculous.
that was semi-pro. When semi-pro, the team went out of business and everybody showed up for the final game. That was
right.
Right.
There you go.
Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City. Follow him on Twitter at AC Press McGarry. He joined us right here on a Friday edition of the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike, you'll be back with Mike on Monday. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too, Josh. See you down the road. Thank you.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up on the other side, Ryan Rothstein from the CityCast, my former co-host, former 97.3 ESPN guy, now off doing his own thing. We'll chat with him the next hour about everything. Sixers, NCAA tournament. Maybe he's got an opinion about Deshaun Watson as well. I'm Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Drive to the rim, floater good. It's the Sweet 16 on 97.3 ESPN. Experience the madness of the NCAA tournament only on 97.3 ESPN. All the buzzer beaters. All the upsets and all the big moments. March Madness on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by
Resorts Casino Hotel, home to DraftKings Sportsbook. Visit resortsac.com.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved with 0 down, 0.9% financing for 60 months, or $1,000 cash back at Matt Blatt Kia on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. $1,705 per $1,000 for 60 months. $1,000 off all 2022 stickers. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 4/6/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hoops are happening, and now is the time to rush to PropSwap to grab the best deals on all your favorite college teams. Every tournament, prop swappers make thousands of dollars by simply buying and selling college basketball teams. Now is the time to find those Cinderellas while the odds are high. Jump to the PropSwap app today and be sure to buy a handful of tickets. Cinderella stories happen every year. Don't miss your shot. Download the free PropSwap app today and get started.
Hey, it's Deion Sanders. They call me Coach Prime now. You already know Walmart is your one-stop shop for all those game day essentials. Now, Walmart and Gillette Labs are teaming up to take your game day to the next level. You got to swing by the shave aisle to snag the new Gillette Labs razor and get that W, man.
The new Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar for a shave as quick and easy as washing your face.
If you're ready to get back to work or just thinking about changing careers, 97.3 ESPN's Virtual Job Fair is the place to start. Just go to the 97.3 ESPN app and tap on the Virtual Job Fair to find exciting opportunities from
Maurice Piers in Wildwood,
Evolution Gaming in Atlantic City.
Peruse all our exhibitors and learn about opportunities just like you would at a live job fair. Take the first step to a brighter future. Visit 97.3 ESPN's Virtual Job Fair at 973ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN app.
This week's feature bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
With all the sports we have, every time of the year is the best time of the year.
And the crowd just buzzing with excitement.
On 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. What day is it? What day is it? What time is it? It's Friday. 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. This hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by Jenkins & Sons. Call Jenkins & Sons for heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, plumbing, or drain cleaning services. Give them a call at 609-641-6262 or visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Ryan Rothstein will join us in just a little bit here on 97.3 ESPN FM. We'll squeeze in a couple of text messages that came in a little bit earlier in the show that we didn't get to. Over on the text board, Mike in Mays Landing chimes in and says, Watson signing that big contract is a joke, and it shows you how talent outweighs character. 22 accusations, and none of them are legit. Come on. That's from Mike in Mays Landing. It's not just that the 22 accusations. It's the fact that his explanation, every time they asked him, well, what evidence? Like, how do we know that you're not guilty? He goes, well, I grew up with a single mom. Well, I love my family. Like, why is that an explanation? Why does it matter who your family is? What kind of mother you have? Like, so basically, if you had a single mom or you love your family, you can't be a criminal. You can't do bad things. You're just a saint. Like, how does that work? So every criminal, every bad person doesn't love their family. Like, again, these explanations that he gave were just so bad. It's just so bad. That's from Mike in Mays Landing chiming in here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's be joined now by Ryan Rothstein. He is the host of the CityCast. Of course, you can catch that all week long and all year long. You follow him on Twitter at WiseRide. He joins us right now. My former co-host. Everyone talks about how you and Gil used to co-host together. Well, you and I used to co-host together too, Ryan.
Damn right we did.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. It's I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna have some fun here.
I don't want to spend the whole hour on Deshaun Watson, but I mean, is there a more pathetic situation right now than Cleveland? I mean, they bring in Kareem Hunt, they bring in Deshaun Watson. I mean, they're just selling their souls for wins in an AFC where everyone is good now.
Yeah, that story is just, I don't know. Yeah, I think the way you put it is perfect. They're selling their souls. And they sold them to the Roger Goodell devil here, and it's I don't know what's going to happen, right? Like what's going to come of all this?
I don't think they even know, because when they asked Andrew Berry about, like, well, you guaranteed him this money, but if he gets suspended, he doesn't get the money. And Berry was like, can you repeat the question? Like, the question is pretty clear. Like, just so bad.
But this offseason in the NFL has been awesome.
Do you have a favorite move so far?
Oh, a favorite move. I don't know. I mean, the Tyreek Hill one's interesting. That one was a little bit surprising, and I'd like him in Miami. I don't think Tua is the same as Patrick Mahomes, but we can get to that maybe. I don't know. There's so many, man. There's been so many moves. Matt Ryan leaving, that's interesting. I mean, what do you have one that sticks out?
I mean, my favorite is Devontae Adams because of his explanation. I don't know if you saw his press conference where he was like, I grew up a Raiders fan. I had a Charles Woodson jersey hanging on my wall. I went to college with Derek Carr. This was like the perfect situation at the perfect time. It was just kind of like a feel-good moment listening to him talk in that press conference about like his childhood and his upbringing and all that stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even catch that press conference.
You know me, I'm all about the feel-good story because there's too much negativity in the world. So
yes, there is.
I'm so depressed from this Deshaun Watson patheticness. I need to latch on to something.
Depressed is a strong word. I hope you're not depressed because of Deshaun Watson.
No, not depressed because of Deshaun.
They're
Watson.
depressing.
I'm depressed for other reasons.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll allow that.
But let me ask you this, because I put this out to everybody yesterday, and I said, I think the Eagles caught a break because you see what the Dolphins gave up for Tyreek Hill, 5 draft picks, and they made him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Deshaun Watson's getting $200 million guaranteed money, and there's no guarantee he's even going to play all the games up there because of his legal situation. To me, I think the Eagles kind of lucked out here and not having to deal with either of those situations.
I don't know about Watson, right? Like I'm still waiting to see exactly how much trouble this dude gets in as far as obviously legal trouble or suspension from the NFL. But I've been saying this for a while. I'm not the morality police here. Like if he gets 6 game suspension, let's say, if he doesn't get in any legitimate legal trouble, this guy's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, this guy is a young stud at the quarterback position. Now, this is assuming, like I said, that he doesn't get into any legal trouble and that we get answers that aren't, severe against him, and his character. But if we get those answers in a positive way, I'm all for Watson in Philadelphia. I was, at least, obviously not anymore. So I'm not the guy that's saying, phew, we dodged a bullet. For the moment, absolutely. It certainly feels that way. I would agree with that sentiment. But long term, I think for me, it's a wait and see if we dodged a bullet or if we did not.
And then what about Tyreek Hill? The Dolphins giving up 5 draft picks and making him the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but I would have done it, right? Like I would have done it. Like
you would sacrifice that many draft picks for a wide receiver.
This is a wide receiver that is, where do you think he is? Top 2, top 3?
I mean, I guess he's top 5. I mean,
top 5, if you want to put it conservatively. I mean, that amount of first round picks is a little bit much, but I just hate all these Eagles fans want the Eagles to get better, but they don't want the organization to give up anything. It's like, well, how the hell do you expect this team to get better? I don't get it. Like, you don't want to trade any draft picks. You don't want them to spend any significant money in free agency, but you're screaming and yelling for them to get better. I'm not saying you are, Josh, but I just like 70% of these draft picks don't pan out, right? So if you're telling me I can go get a top 3 to 5 guy at a huge position, I'm going to go and do it.
See, my thing is this. I want the Eagles to get a certain kind of player. Like I wanted Allen Robinson, for example. And apparently the Eagles were in on him, but the Rams gave him more money and he wanted to go to a team that won a Super Bowl last year. All right, I'm not too mad about that. Robert Woods, Eagles could have had him. Apparently he wanted to go to Tennessee, which, they're probably closer to a Super Bowl right now than the Eagles are. So, to me, there are certain guys I would like them to get and they maybe theoretically could have gotten, heck, maybe they should have broken the bank for Allen Robinson. I don't know. But to me, if you're going to spend the money, you're going to go get, like, for example, to me, the Eagles should have already signed Tyrann Mathieu and gotten it over with. But apparently, the Eagles are waiting out the market with some of these guys. I would love to see them get Jarvis Landry. I don't know if they will. To me, no offense to Zach Pascal, seems like a nice dude, but Zach Pascal doesn't really, get me juiced, Ryan.
No, he certainly shouldn't. I would be concerned if Pascal got you juiced, Josh. I would be legitimately concerned. I mean, he's what? A 1 year, $1.2 million deal, right?
Yeah, it's a hey, I know Nick Sirianni deal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a lot of nothing. A lot of nothing. And he might be legitimately this team's second or third best receiver, which is a frightening possibility.
By the way, if there was a drink called a Pascal, would you actually drink it? It is Happy Hour Friday.
A drink called a Pascal? No, I don't think I have enough money for that drink. It sounds really prissy.
Well,
I'll have a Pascal.
Pascal. I was somewhere recently and I saw some of the names on the menu of the drinks, and I legitimately had to read each description because I wasn't sure if the description matched what I thought of the drink, and then half of the time I was very incorrect.
Did you order anything and it came out and it was not what you thought it was?
Two of them were better than I expected.
Okay.
Yeah, a shark tooth and a cranberry mule were both better than I expected.
All right. Cranberry mule is probably like a Moscow mule type of thing.
Nah, kind of.
No. Okay.
You have the right idea. There is vodka involved, but
all right. I tried.
Ryan Rothstein joining us here on the Friday edition of the Sports Batch. You can follow him on Twitter at WiseRye. Of course, he is the host of the Philadelphia CityCast, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Friday edition of the show. By the way, so speaking of the NFL, before we get to all the other stuff, I do think it's funny that this offseason has been so ridiculous. But yet the one thing no one's talking about is it just me, or does it feel like the Eagles are just too quiet this offseason?
Yeah, they are quiet. They are boringly quiet. I mean, especially with, like I said, how we sort of started this conversation. This has been like one of my favorite NFL off seasons. It's just been story after story, one after the next. And then you look over at your team that you're rooting for, and they've done really nothing besides a Pascal happy hour drink. That's not going to get it done.
A Pascal and a Reddick.
Right, exactly. Which that was something. That was something. But
I like Hassan Reddick. I think he's a good addition for this team.
Okay, I was going to ask you that, and I was going to ask you, what do you think this team's going to do in the draft now with nothing really happening yet?
Well, I think that they're not going to draft a linebacker. I think they've proven that to us over the years that they're not going to do that. I think they're going to go D-line. I wouldn't be surprised if they walk away with either Walker or Davis from Georgia because, this organization loves their men in the trenches. And I'm not against Davis or Walker. I think they're both studs, but there's a part of me that love to see them draft a linebacker like a Dean or a Lloyd. But I just know the organization hasn't drafted an off-ball linebacker since the 70s.
Right. Yeah, that's the safest bet out there, that the Eagles are not going to draft a linebacker, particularly in the first round.
How do you feel about all the speculation about the Eagles potentially drafting Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks, though? Because Aaron Moorhead ran his pro day. I feel like every other mock draft has the Eagles taking Burks in the first round. How do you feel about the Eagles drafting another wide receiver in the first round?
I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. I mean, this team needs This team needs more at their skilled positions,
Mhm.
don't they? Right? And you and I just said, well, the Eagles have been a little bit too quiet, right? So I mean, they haven't done anything. If the draft comes around, you know what? I'm okay with going to get a wide receiver with maybe one of these 3 picks. I really am. I mean, the importance of that pick panning out is pretty high, right? Like it would be a little bit urgent for that pick to work out at wide receiver, but let's do it because who do we have? I mean, we have Devontae Smith, the running backs, the backfield's a question. You know, we have Dallas Goedert. You feel good about that, but a pretty average group all around, right? So how do you feel?
I mean, I like Treylon Burks, but my problem is that he doesn't fix the other problem. To me, there's still, when Zach Pascal and Greg Ward are the veterans in your wide receiver room, I'm just not loving it. Like, to me, I've never seen a successful team that was only young guys. Like, even the Bengals had veterans all over their defense. Now, some of them were castaway veterans like Eli Apple, but they still had veterans. Like, at some point, you got to bring in somebody who is going to help the guys be better versions of themselves. Do you not?
Yeah, you do. I mean, who's out there, though? I feel like Pascal's the guy that they're going to lean on to do that.
Well,
which
I
might be
mentioned
scary.
Jarvis Landry. He's still out there. I
Right.
don't think you can't name an Eagles fan who'd be like, I hate Jarvis Landry. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, no. he would be welcomed here with huge open arms.
Like I bring up Landry as well because I don't know if you saw the news last night. He fired his agent. He fired Clutch Sports. It apparently looks like that he thought he was getting something that he didn't get, and his market is dried up, and he's blaming the agent.
Yeah, that's a little awkward. It's a little awkward. I mean, you said it's Clutch?
Yeah, Clutch Sports.
Wow, interesting.
He was a Clutch guy. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now he's not Clutch. I
Now
wonder
he's not
where
Clutch.
he's going to go.
He might be better off.
He might be better off. Actually, I would say from where I've been sitting, he's definitely better off.
Oh
boy.
my goodness. Now, I'm not saying I love this guy, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Eagles give a prove it like 1 year incentive laden deal like a T.Y. Hilton just to be in the locker room with some of these guys.
I like that. I like that name a lot. I'm a fan of T.Y. I just don't know. What do you think that would cost him?
Maybe like a $1 million deal with maybe $2 million of incentives.
Really? That's it?
Well, I mean, no one else has signed him, so I'm assuming by this point, I mean, we're 2 weeks into free agency.
Yeah,
It's not like anybody's pounding down his door, right?
No, it doesn't seem like it.
I mean, that's my theory has always been once you get to like late March, early April in free agency, you're not getting the best deal anymore if you're fill in the blank free agent.
Yeah, if you're still looking for a contract, still looking for a new team, you're probably just going to have to accept what's handed to you.
Ryan Rothstein joining us here on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So you can follow him on Twitter at WiseRye. We'll run the football with this, and then we'll get some other stuff on the other side, Ryan. So if we go in the training camp and Jalen Hurts is the quarterback and you get some more improvements, you have a nice draft, how do you feel about the Eagles in 2022? Or you feel the same as last year? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? What is your, what do you when August 1st rolls around, are you going to be like, this team is better than last year? You're going to be like, it's the same.
I'm not going to be that excited. I mean, I'm going to say if we're lucky, it will be the same. Jalen doesn't excite me. I mean, there's a lot of holes in this team on both sides of the football as well. So, I think I'd be going into this season white knuckling it a little bit, crossing my fingers, hoping for the best, which is never the best way to go into a season. But it's also a young quarterback. Like, I'm not trying to crush Jalen here. I'm just not sold on him, which I think is fair. He's a young quarterback. So, yeah, I think it's a very hesitant type of feel if it's looking more of the same.
Is there a part of you that looks at the fact that this will be the first time in about like 7 years he's had the same offensive coordinator 2 straight years? Does that impact maybe how you view him at all?
No.
You
I
don't
mean, listen, good for
Ryan
him
doesn't
because
care
I
about
think
continuity with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the continuity I don't think is an issue. I mean, I think if anything, that's like a tip in the cap for him, feather in the cap, for dealing with like a new offense or a new person that's handling your offense every year. But no, that's not going to help like the concerns that I think we can find on the game tape.
Yeah, all right, gotcha. All right, we'll dig deeper into basketball on the other side because we got a lot of stuff to get to with the Sixers, the NCAA tournament, and more. Ryan Rothstein joining me for the full hour here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Don't forget, still to come, football at 4. Adam Caplan, Inside the Sixers with Paul Hudrick at 4:40. And Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, coming up at 5:25.
From the first 4 to the final 4. Listen to the NCAA tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Hey, South Jersey contractors, is your current supplier failing on your railing? Dennisville Fence can supply or install whatever type of railing you need. With the largest selection in South Jersey, we are your go-to source for cable rail, glass rail, aluminum, and composite. Plus, we have a mile of white vinyl T-railing in stock to help you stay on time and on budget. Have trouble getting up the steps? Our instant rail and ADA handrail will have you covered. Don't leave your customer in the dark. Our full line of low-voltage lighting will knock your job out of the park. With materials delivered right to your home or job site, we make it easy to get you the products you need when you need them. So start planning your project today. Visit DennisvilleFence.com or our newest location at 229 Shore Road in Summers Point. Again, that's 229 Shore Road in Summers Point.
Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. Ha ha! 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
A new fusion of flavor, friendly competition, and fiery foods. That's the Chili Knockout and Spicy Food Fest, Saturday, May 21st. Orange Loop Arena, New York Avenue in Atlantic City. It's an opportunity for culinary discovery. Chili Knockout is a food festival devoted to exploring all things flavorful and spicy. It's an interactive, you be the judge, chili cook-off, and a day out with friends and family, supporting this seaside community culinary scene. It's a kickoff to spring like no other. Tickets are available now at chilliknockout.com. Produced by Good Time Tricycle.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge for a coupon and daily support? Sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Buzzer beaters and bracketologists, leprechauns and green beer. One more nor'easter snowstorm. You know they're going to happen in March. You just don't know when.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Every day, all month at Matt Blatt Nissan. New 2022 Titan trucks. $5,000 off. Plus, AJ, the trade man, will get you more for your trade. So you can drive a brand new Nissan with 0 down and pay 0% interest on every new Nissan in stock. Lease the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier S 4x4 King Cab. Just $279 per month with 0 security deposit. Plus, with a Matt Blatt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. Next equity will be refinanced instant vehicle 36 months, 10,000 miles per year lease plus tax tag and 479 dollars. Offers can be combined. Selling price MSRP 6140. Then NN 532176. MSRP 33940. Then NN 632542. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 4/6/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Black Horse Pike in Harbor Township.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig, Philly for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Sports Bash being brought to you by AC Airport. Plan your spring break getaway now. Create memories that last a lifetime. Start with nonstop flights from Atlantic City to Cancun, San Juan, and Miami. Book your low-cost flight today at Spirit.com. Joined for this hour, Ryan Rothstein from the Philadelphia CityCast joining us. Ryan, let's get into this team. You might have heard of them called the 76ers.
Oh, boy.
So, on Sunday, they blow a 16-point lead to the Raptors. Monday, they beat the Miami Heat without Embiid and Harden. Wednesday night, no LeBron, which was disappointing. And then Harden has like one of the worst starts ever to the game. And the Sixers find a way to win, I guess you could say. Everybody got scoring. Everyone was happy at the end of the game. So what do you make of this team?
Great question. I mean, I don't think anyone in that locker room can give you an answer. I mean, they are vastly just inconsistent and frustrating. I look at this team and I look at them right now, especially, and I see a team that's tired. I see a guy in Joel Embiid that is exhausted, but he knows he can't miss too many games or take too many nights off because he wants to win this MVP award. I see a guy in James Harden that sort of just slid into that Curry role in the first 5 games, and they weren't really running pick and roll formations with him. They were just sort of getting him out there in that Curry role, and they were 5-0. Now they're running different things. They're getting Harden like downhill pick and roll, and they're forcing things with him. And I don't know, man. There's a lot of doubt that I have with this team right now for a variety of reasons. I mean, I could probably rant for the next 33 minutes up until my time at 4 p.m. about my questions, comments, and concerns about the Sixers team, Josh.
Do you think, and I'm just going big picture, that the James Harden deal in hindsight may have been mishandled? Like, hey, we got James Harden, but we forgot about the rest of the roster.
No, because I mean, I hate to give this as a reason, but how much better, like what else were they going to do? I mean, they were held hostage by Ben Simmons. Let's just keep it real. I mean, they were held complete hostage by Ben Simmons, and you know, good for Daryl Morey in a sense that he held his ground and he knew that he wanted to get a certain type of player in return. And as he should feel that way, if you didn't make that trade, I don't know I don't know what else you're doing. I mean, maybe you're holding out to the offseason, but I don't think Morey and the Sixers' entire brass wanted to wait that long.
Well, the
Do
other
you
thing
feel
was,
like it's a mistake?
I don't feel like it was a mistake to get Harden. I just feel like when you trade away Drummond and Curry, maybe you should have had a backup plan. Like maybe you should have had like another trade in place, or maybe you should have, not been hoping that DeAndre Jordan and Willie Cauley-Stein could fill that void. You know what I mean? Like, like you had like 90 minutes for the deadline. You could have made like some random deal, trade 2 second-round picks for some rando on a bad team.
Right. But this team has never been deep. And that's one of my biggest concerns going into the postseason, by the way, is this team's lack of depth. But I mean, you traded Ben Simmons, who was on his couch. You traded Andre Drummond, who's an aging 1-year vet, who we all loved here and is still valuable for Brooklyn. Miss him, but not enough to not trade for Harden. And then, you essentially gave up Curry. So it's like, I don't think they gave up a ton for James Harden. Do you?
I think that they gave up what was necessary to get him. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
It was a very politician-like way to answer the question, but
well,
fair.
I say it that way because I think the Sixers did the right thing in not giving up Maxey and Thibault. I think that the organization shouldn't be sacrificing the future in a very deep Eastern Conference that could look very different next year. So, and with the way Maxey is ascending and the way that Thibault is probably an offseason away from being a legitimate Bruce Bowen type player, I think that this team still has a future. I don't know if they're going to win it at all this year. I personally think that the favorite in the East should still be the Bucks. But to me, the Sixers are at least in the conversation again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And for a while there, you didn't know if they ever were going to re-enter themselves into this conversation. But I agree with you. The Bucks are still the favorite for me in the East as well.
And part of the reason why I like the Bucks is because I just keep having this mental visual of on the court at one time in the postseason in a 7-game series at any point in time. It could be Ibaka, Giannis, Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. And unless you're the Nets, who the heck is scoring on that front?
The Bucks, dude, they just play. They're scary. Like I still feel like they're getting overlooked, Josh. Don't you?
Of course they're being overlooked because they're not sexy. They're in Milwaukee.
Right.
Giannis doesn't, argue with people on burner accounts. He's not a controversial figure like Kyrie. He's not a troll and bubbly like Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
He doesn't play in Miami like Jimmy Butler and Heat culture. It's Milwaukee. Nobody cares about Milwaukee.
Right. No, it's that's the bottom line there. I look at Milwaukee and I by the way, I hate all the love that the Brooklyn Nets have been getting. Like, listen, Kevin Durant's a unicorn. I do not want the 76ers to play the Brooklyn Nets in the first round or even the second round or hell, any round. But if we're looking at this Eastern Conference and the landscape of it, just from even 1 to 6, and people just are assuming that they're just going to cakewalk their way right into the NBA Finals. I do not believe that this Brooklyn Nets team, who has not played with Ben Simmons yet, is going to win 3 best-of-7 playoff series in this year's Eastern Conference. No way.
Yeah, I look at the Nets and I keep asking the question, how they lose to Memphis the other night? I mean, no Ja Morant. Durant and Kyrie combined for 70 points. I mean, I hit my over 60 on combined points for them easily that night. And they lost to a Memphis team without their best player. Now, first of all, can we just say that Ja Morant was doing a lot of jumping around for a guy who was supposed to be out with a bad knee? But still, I mean, he was doing more jumping on the bench than he was in the game. But seriously, with the Nets, I don't believe in the Nets, even if Ben Simmons does return, because to me, I'm just convinced that Ben Simmons is just a fraudulent individual at this point.
I mean, how can you believe anything else?
Well,
I mean,
you got your people who are still going to tell you that he was the number 1 pick and a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time All-Defensive player. And I know all that because I quoted that resume every time everyone said you need to trade him for a bag of basketballs. Like, I know what his resume is, but when you have an epidural and there's something wrong with the L4 in your spine, what did you do for the last 6 months?
I say that phrase all the time, Josh. I really do. I kid. Listen, I'm more scared of the Nets if Ben Simmons isn't playing. I don't know what your thought is on that statement.
I mean, to me, if the best version of Ben Simmons is on the court for the Nets, it does make them better. I just don't think it makes them significantly better.
No, definitely doesn't do that. I just don't think it makes them better. I mean, we'll see. I think it makes them a different type of better, if that makes sense.
It does. Now, listen, I think the Nets, because Kyrie can play and the vax mandate's been lifted, I think it's going to help Kyrie and it's going to allow the Nets to get out of the play-in probably. So they won't have to deal with that. But I'm not going to sit here and act like in a 7-game series that the Nets are just going to automatically beat any team, because here's a problem. Even if Ben Simmons is on the court, okay, he's guarding Tatum or he's guarding Giannis or he's guarding Jimmy Butler, which would be hilarious to watch. He may be guarding the other team's best offensive weapon, but Durant still has to guard somebody too. We're acting like all these teams that the Bucks would go against only have one offensive player. And by the way, if the Sixers and Nets did play in the playoffs and Ben Simmons on the court, who's Ben Simmons guarding?
I don't know. I don't think he's guarding Harden. He's probably guarding Tobias.
Then it's a waste because Tobias is the fourth option on the floor.
I know. I mean, I just don't see them sticking him on Harden. Maybe at times, but not for long stretches.
I mean, he's not guarding Embiid. Embiid will beg for the ball at that point.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be a murder.
I mean, I think Ben Simmons helps them defensively and a little bit with the rebounding. But to me, the Nets' problem at the end of the day is their GM handed a coach with very little coaching experience a roster built on the premise that the stars were going to carry that roster. And 9 times out of 10, when you're expecting Durant and Kyrie to do all the work and you're hoping everybody else does something, you're basically the Houston Rockets with Chris Paul and James Harden all over again.
Yeah, you are. But I mean, I will say their supporting cast isn't terrible looking now, especially with the 2 former 76ers. But
sure,
there's just a lot of questions that have yet to be answered, I think, with this Nets team.
Right now, talking with Ryan Rothstein from the Philadelphia CityCast right here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. Of the teams at the top, you have the Sixers, the Celtics, and the Bucks within striking distance of the Heat at the 1 seed. Ryan, who at the end of the season will be the 1 seed?
I'd probably say Miami.
You think
I'd probably say Miami. I just don't think, I've been getting asked a few different times over the past week or two, like, are the 76ers going to catch the Miami Heat? I don't think they want to. And I don't think it's in their best interest to catch the Miami Heat for the 1 seed. As idiotic as that statement is, of course you want the opportunity to play the entire Eastern Conference playoffs on your home floor with a home court advantage, I should say. But sort of similar to what we're dealing with right now in March Madness, matchups are everything. And I think especially this year, I think if the Sixers can finish in the 3rd seed and end up playing the Cleveland Cavs, then you can set yourself up, I think, for a decent path to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. The 1 seed, then you have a matchup with most likely the Brooklyn Nets in the 1st round right off the bat. I don't know how that would go.
Well, the problem with the Nets is that they need to get out of the play-in game situation. And I think that's what their real goal is, because Kyrie still can't play in Toronto. Listen, the New York vax mandate's been lifted, but Toronto is in Canada, and Canada is a whole different animal right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, I think the Nets are trying to get out of that play-in game. I think that's their ultimate goal. And if they do, they would be the 6th seed. If they're the 6th seed, then they're playing either the Bucks or the Celtics or the Sixers. So the problem with the Sixers is they really can't control what the Nets do. They only can control what they do. My only concern with the Sixers is right now is that you mentioned the Nets. There's another team, if they played in the first round, I have a little bit of a concern. And that's the team they just lost to, the Raptors. The Raptors are just a funky team. And I'm not saying the Sixers can't beat them in a 7-game series, but I can see the Raptors wearing them out for 7 games.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Josh, most of these teams they're all legitimate this year in the Eastern Conference. That's why I said the depth of this conference this year is different than what we're accustomed to. I think they're going to get worn out by almost any opponent that they play. And I think you can say the same for Milwaukee, Miami, Boston, Chicago, and Cleveland. I think it's going to be a gauntlet in the Eastern Conference from start to finish.
I think they would wipe the floor with Cleveland. That's the only team.
Yeah, I think it would be like a smooth sailing 5 or 6 games. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like a 5-gamer kind of situation.
Yeah.
To me, like the Nets, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Heat, the Raptors, I can see all those being like a 7-game series.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
And that's a problem for the Sixers because, whether Embiid and Harden want to admit it or not, they're both banged up. Embiid's acting like he's got nothing wrong with him when he's grabbing his back in the middle of the Lakers game. And Harden's like, well, I got need in my quad. It just happens to be the same quad as the hamstring that you recovered from. Like, it's not like either of these guys are like in pristine health right now, no matter what they say.
No, and no one is. But this is like the most Joel Embiid has played in his entire career.
That's why he'll win MVP.
And that's why he will win MVP, but at what cost? I hope it's not at any cost, but I don't know.
Not. I mean, listen, we all know the truth. Last year, Jokic won the MVP because he was the only guy who didn't miss a bunch of games. Every other MVP
Embiid didn't play enough.
Yeah, well, first of all, Embiid, half the games he missed because of COVID. He didn't miss all the games because of injury. People were acting like Embiid was injured all last year. He missed a huge chunk of games due to COVID. Jokic was lucky he didn't miss any games due to COVID last year. People were applauding him like, Jokic played all the games. Like, Jokic was the only guy who didn't have a positive COVID test last year.
It's amazing how people are, and I love Jokic. So I don't want this to come off completely twisted, but like some people are just so obsessed with Jokic. Like, I don't know how anyone with an ounce of basketball knowledge can seriously say that Jokic deserves this award more than Joel Embiid right now. I just think that's insanity.
Well, you know why it is because there are people who still don't like Embiid.
Oh, exactly.
That's what it really comes down to. There's a group of people who still look at Embiid and they don't like his tweets, or they don't like his personality, or they don't like the fact that he sat out 2 years, or they find something to hold against the guy. It's like the person who gets up there and says, just using an example, well, Tom Brady only won championships because he had Bill Belichick. And it's like, bro, that boat passed. Like, that ship has sailed.
Right.
Like, get over it. Brady's Brady. Like, you still won't accept it.
Yeah, well, you need to move on there. Yeah, I agree. And it's also just people trying to be like a contrarian, like, and appear, I don't know. Like, it's like, well, Jokic out there, man, he gets overlooked. Like, Jokic no longer gets overlooked. Okay. Right. Everyone knows about Jokic in Denver. Okay. So stop with that.
Yeah. It's like the person who sits there and says that, well, Giannis already won his MVP, so we don't have to give him any more. I'm like, do you remember the 90s?
I know. And Jokic, you bring that up, but I have been saying this. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like you would. Jokic, forget what Embiid does here down the stretch or doesn't do. This is a narrative storytelling type of award season by season. Jokic getting the award, he then becomes a back-to-back MVP award winner. That catapults him into a different tier, into a different legacy. And I don't think the voters want to do that just yet with him.
Well, it's like the whole situation with Harden. People were very apprehensive giving him the MVP award because that changes the narrative about him too. Anytime these guys get these MVP awards, it's now part of their resume. Like, for example, and I know this might sound crazy to people, but if Harden didn't have an MVP on his resume, he might not have been on the 75th anniversary team.
I think that's fair. I mean, he's statistically pretty, solidified, but still, I think that could be true.
Well, Alex English is solidified statistically too, but he never won an MVP.
Who?
Exactly. He's in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. He's one of the 50 greatest scorers in NBA history, but nobody cares because he never won a championship. He never won an MVP. He was just a dude.
I mean, I legitimately didn't hear the name you said, but it's okay.
Oh, Alex English.
Oh, Alice English. Yeah. Got to put some English on the shot. Come on. He played in Denver. He played in Washington. Did he not?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about Alex English and James Harden in the same sentence. Why? Because one guy's got MVP and one guy doesn't.
Oh, I don't know if it's simply that. English is also would be what, like 150 this year?
I don't know about that all. I think he might be like 60 something.
Oh, okay. Close.
I mean, it was the late 70s into the 80s. So,
yeah.
All right. He's Ryan Rothstein. You can follow him on Twitter at WiseRye, WiseWrye. He's the host of the Philadelphia CityCast. We got one more segment together. We'll get into the NCAA tournament Sweet 16 action tonight. You hear all right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
There's never an off season for the NFL. It's football at 4 every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved with $0 down, 0.9% financing for 60 months, or $1,000 cash back at Matt Blatt Kia on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. $1,705 for $1,000 for 60 months. $1,000 off all 2022 stickers. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 4/6/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Power Penny days are back, just in time for spring at JCPenney. Stock up on wardrobe staples to home essentials, like tees for the family, select styles starting at $7. Soak up the savings with $5 Home Expressions quick dry bath towels in an array of colors. Or use your coupon to save an extra 25% store-wide. Incredible prices, spectacular savings. Hurry, ends Sunday. JCPenney. Offers and coupon valid 3/24 to 3/27. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details. Power Penny deals excluded from coupon.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person
I'd rather
counts.
not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Mako and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, Just say,
better get Mako.
and go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
March is the best time to buy your new cowboy boots during Boot Trade Month at Cowtown Cowboy Outfitters. Cowtown Cowboy Outfitters has the largest selection of cowboy boots in the area. You won't believe their huge inventory, including the best cowboy boots like Ariat, Justin, Corral, Tony Lama, and more. Cowtown Cowboy Outfitters has cowboy boots for the entire family. All month long, save $25 on your purchase of boots when you trade in your old boots. Plus, each week you can win a free pair of boots. For more details, go to cowtowncowboy.com.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Tyndall Auto Plaza has the area's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, with over 170 pre-owned vehicles on their huge 100-acre lot. Everything from sporty coupes to SUVs to trucks. Tyndall offers the area's best buying experience, easy and hassle-free, with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. Discover why Tyndall customers are so loyal. Shop for your next pre-owned vehicle at Tyndall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway, Stone Harbor Boulevard, or online at KindleAutoplaza.com.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you here in the Matt Black Kia Studios. Being joined by Ryan Rothstein for the full hour here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Usually Ryan joins Mike Gill. Mike will be back from his vacation on Monday. So my week of filling in for Mike Gill is wrapping up today. So I know some of you are thrilled. Some of you are disappointed by that. Ryan, how you feel?
I don't really care.
Sounds about right.
I don't care either way, man.
We only have a few minutes left, but I did want to get to the NCAA tournament because obviously the Sweet 16 continues tonight. I got to say, I really think St. Peter's is going to make a close game tonight. I know it's a 12.5 point spread, but I really think St. Peter's can hang with Purdue.
Boy, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right, man, because
you have
what a story. What a story. It just doesn't even make sense that they're this far. But my biggest concern may sound a little bit weird is just the waiting period, right? Like the momentum, I feel like is such a big part of that first weekend going 2-0 and getting into the Sweet 16, second week of things here, sitting around and waiting 4, 5, 6 days. I think that's a big factor that goes against St. Peter's. Hopefully I'm wrong with that, but I would love to see them keep dancing.
I don't know if they'll keep dancing, but I just think it'll be a close game. I don't have a lot of confidence in Purdue. I feel like Purdue is a bad matchup for some teams and not as much for others.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, listen, what was the conversations like going into the Kentucky game, right? Like, so you beat Kentucky. Why the hell can't you beat Purdue?
How disappointed are you that because we're in New Jersey, you can't wager on St. Peter's at all in this tournament?
No, I think, yeah, you can't wager on them at all. That's right. Because I use the Bet Rivers app in PA, so I get confused sometimes. Yeah, it stinks. It stinks for all of our Jersey peeps here because you probably would have won some money, or maybe not. I don't know.
Or maybe you would have. Who knows? I mean,
right? You could have been, putting the mortgage on Kentucky.
My bracket is completely busted, but I'm still winning with some of my bets. So.
There you go. That's all that matters.
I mean, I had one bracket with Kentucky, one bracket with Arizona, and I am done.
You had a hell of a ride, Josh. You really did.
I mean, not even Gonzaga made it to the Final Four, for goodness sake.
Yeah, shocker there. I mean, come on. They are they're the kings of the Sweet 16 and getting bounced.
I mean, if you would have asked me which SEC team was getting to the Elite Eight, I don't think I would have said Arkansas. That's for sure.
No. Yeah, me either. Like, what?
Is there a team that's played so far that has been the biggest surprise for you that's not named St. Peter's?
Biggest surprise to me, not named St. Peter's. I don't know. Not really. I mean, boring response to that question is I really like the way Nova's been playing, man. Like, I think they can win it all. I really do. I've been watching them closely, more closely than I typically do in years past. And they are a tough out, man. They are a tough out and a wide open field.
Yeah, Nova was the only game that went as I thought it would yesterday, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I maybe gave Michigan a little bit too much credit. I thought that they were going to be able to keep it close. I picked Villanova, but I picked Michigan to cover the 5-point spread, and not the case. I mean, Michigan was just a complete no-call, no-show in that game.
We'll talk about no-call and no-show. I mean, I felt like Arizona just never showed up in that game versus Houston. And then Texas Tech, I mean, they were playing well in the first half. It looked like they went across the street, got hammered, and came back for the second half, and they lost to Duke.
It's did you see there's a film crew following Coach K and Duke?
Yeah, don't remind me.
I know. Did you know it's Coach K's last year?
Is it really? Did you know it's his last Elite Eight?
Yeah. This is his last season. If you didn't know that, I'm here to, inform you.
I can't wait till he retires. I'm done with it.
I know.
So overdone. All right, give Ryan a follow on Twitter at WiseRye. It's the Philadelphia CityCast is where you can catch him daily. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter for more updates on where he will be because he is everywhere.
Josh, it was a pleasure, my man. Thank you.
We'll do it again sometime.
I hope so.
Coming up next, Football at 4 with Adam Caplan. Talk some Eagles and the NFL with him on the other side here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Josh Hennig hanging out with you till 6 o'clock tonight.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Brad Quast joins me in the studio. Villanova moves on to the Elite Eight. The radio voice of the Villanova Wildcats, Ryan Fannin, checks in from San Antonio with his pregame analysis. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan from Vegas with his big plays for the weekend. Then we will talk with Hall of Fame sports columnist Dick Weiss. Dick has covered over 45 NCAA Final Fours, and we'll get his thoughts on this year's tournament. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
Want to improve your brain function? Do a cardio workout. One study found that after one treadmill session, exercisers learn new words 20% faster. Why? Because getting your heart pumping delivers more oxygen to your brain, and that stimulates new growth in the areas that control multitasking, memory, and planning. Another way exercise can transform your life, you'll be happier at work. According to the University of Bristol, on days when workers participated in an on-site fitness session, they reported thinking more clearly, getting more done, and having better relationships with their coworkers. So there you go. In addition to being healthier, exercise can make us happier and even smarter. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
Buzzer beaters and bracketologists, leprechauns and green beer. One more nor'easter snowstorm. You know they're going to happen in March. You just don't know when.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Every day, all month at Matt Blatt Nissan. New 2020 2022 Titan trucks, $5,000 off. Plus, AJ, the trade man, will get you more for your trade, so you can drive a brand new Nissan with 0 down and pay 0% interest on every new Nissan in stock. Lease the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier S 4x4 King Cab, just $279 per month with 0 security deposit. Plus, with a matte black Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at mattblacknissan.com. We will be financing the vehicle 36 months, 10,000 miles per year lease plus tax tag and $479. Offers can be combined. Selling price MSRP 6140. Bid NN 532176. MSRP 33940. Bid NN 632542. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblacknissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 4/6/2022. It's on at Matt Black Nissan. Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township.
Warmer weather means more fun time outside, but it can also mean more bugs like fleas and ticks. So don't forget to help protect your pets with Frontline Plus for dogs and Frontline Plus for cats. It's easy to apply, kills fleas and ticks fast, and keeps working all month long. So you can enjoy the outdoors and your pets can get the protection they need. That's why Frontline is the #1 name in flea and tick protection. Trusted for over 20 years. Find out where to buy Frontline products at frontline.com today.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. So we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MILE for 25 cents a gallon or more cash back on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code MILE to earn 25 cents a gallon or more on your first tank. That's code MILE.
A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles. WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City.
Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, sorry about the little abrupt entry there, a little technical issue, but we're powering through here on a Friday edition. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. And joining us for a Friday edition of the show, it is Adam Caplan, NFL insider, joining us right now here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, the Inside the Birds podcast with Adam and Jeff, and of course, InsideTheBirds.com, as well as with Andrew DeCecco's coverage. Adam, how you doing today?
Josh, always glad to be with you, my friend. It's been a while since you and I have been on the air together, so good to be back with you. And yeah, look, we dropped our latest show this morning. We did our Intel with Greg Cosell. Our first college series just came out this week. And probably about 30 receivers. We probably wound up speaking about 15 more than we planned to. It just we rolled through a lot of players, and we will probably continue to do more. We pretty much covered all the top receivers, so if you're into the draft, you're into the Eagles, no matter what team you're actually listening to us about, we've covered every top receiver that you could possibly think of for the draft. And we got Greg's reaction to some of the other stuff around the league, so it was really good doing that. And our next series with Greg will drop Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't heard the intel with Greg Cosell, it's elite stuff you guys got with him. It's just incredible insight. And it's funny because some of the things that Jason Avant was saying to me on Football at 4 on Tuesday, Greg repeated some of that on Wednesday's intel. So it was like, inside the bird symmetry going on.
Yeah, it's great to have Avant on there from the Q&A show. Jason and Quentin Mike will be back with us in the fall. We hope to get them started up again over the next couple of weeks for the draft coverage. But yeah, look, it's when you talk about the draft, this is when we actually start. We always do free agency first. You can't really cover both at the same time. It's really difficult.
Right.
So the first week of free agency is behind us. We're in the second week. It's now slowing down as we expected. But when we talk about the Eagles, it's not gone quite like they thought it would. In our reporting, we'd said coming out of the combine, the Eagles are going to be very aggressive, and they sure were. They tried to be aggressive, but the other side has something to say to it. It's 50% of it is contacting agents, or they contact you, and you have negotiations. And the Eagles are in on 3 or 4 big-time players, but the problem is, what does the player want? What's he willing to do? What's the agent willing to do? And unfortunately, they didn't hit it. They hit one out of the park, but the rest did not happen.
Well, something you guys have talked about on the podcast, you mentioned some of those targets, Adam. Obviously, they were interested in Calvin Ridley, but he's suspended, so that didn't work out.
Yep.
Allen Robinson, he signed with the Rams for a pretty good amount of money. Juju is now in Kansas City, and now Richie James is signed with the Giants. So, while people may say, well, what are the Eagles doing? It's not like they're sitting on their hands.
Yeah, no, look, we nailed it coming out of the combine. They were going to be very aggressive. We don't control what teams do. Just, people say, well, you said this was going to happen. We never said they were going to sign 15 players. We said they're going to try to sign some specific big-time players, and they sure did that. Unlike last year when they were locked into the dead money on the cap after the Wentz trade. So, look, they try to do it. It is interesting, and we're aware of the comments on social media. They're very fair. Why aren't these free agents signing here, particularly some on offense, some on defense? We're going to have something on our Monday morning show that we got from a couple agents, which is fascinating. Their opinion. We asked some agents. We had heard right before free agency started that Allen Robinson, there were rumors, but they were not confirmed. So we went up checking with a couple sources to see if it's true, and it turned out to be. The Eagles were involved. He had his own reasons why he wasn't going to come to Philly, and they're obvious. We all could figure it out. To play with an elite quarterback, to have a chance to win a Super Bowl, obvious. But it's more than that. And we'll get into that on a Monday morning show at 6 a.m. Eastern, which will be on YouTube and pod version. But it is interesting because, remember, let's go back, Josh, to what Nick Sirianni said about Quez Watkins. He said he could be the best number 2 receiver he's ever worked with. And I thought it was kind of a strange comment considering Quez Watkins has never shown he could be a quality starting player. He's a good story of development. One of the young players who certainly started to develop. But if you define a number 2 NFL receiver, it's a guy that you believe is worth starting, worth playing a significant amount of snaps. And if you're in a passing offense, which the Eagles aren't anymore, it's crazy, but they're not. But if they were, you could catch 60 or 70 balls. Quez Watkins is not that guy. He's what we call a rotational deep threat. That's the way the teams look at him. I thought that he did a good job, Josh, playing in the slot when he was asked to do it as a sort of a vertical slot. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at Quez Watkins and what he did, look, it's a great story. 43 catches, 15 yards per catch. We knew this coming in. He was explosive. But there are people around the league question whether he's a starting receiver, and we knew he had maturity issues. So, irrespective of that, what did Howie Roseman try to do? He tried to trade for Calvin Ridley. Jay Glazer reported it. If Jay reports it, it's true. They were this close, if you're watching us on YouTube, like literally within a couple hairs of getting him. They would have gotten him, by the way, if he did not bet on the NFL. He would have been an Eagle. The Eagles had it worked out, but Atlanta couldn't go through with it because they knew he's being investigated. Allen Robinson, we're told they were one of the finalists for Allen Robinson. Juju Smith-Schuster, we were told they were very low on their offer, or the money they discussed with the agent. Richie James, they were one of 2 finalists, but we'll have more information on that on Monday, kind of what he was thinking. But they looked at him, just so you know, Josh, more for a kickoff punt returner, because you know how atrocious the return game was last season.
Right.
Son Reddick, that was one of their 3 top targets. They got one of them. Who $15 million a year, 2-year structure, and Marcus Williams, they were the finalists. They were super close to getting him. And Jeff would have been happy because he could have stopped talking about the Eagles not getting a safety. And they were that's what's fascinating, Josh. They were going to pay market. This is something we failed to discuss on our show, which we should have. It now shows, Josh, that the Eagles are willing to invest either high cash or potentially, now we'll see, they know that they have to do it, or spend a high draft pick, maybe a second round pick on a safety. I don't see it first. So they're giving you the answers to the test. Being that they're in on these players, they clearly were going to be very aggressive. And now that they didn't get it, you would think they'll go into the draft trying to do this.
NFL insider Adam Caplan joining us here, Football at Forward, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast at InsideTheBirds.com. You can follow Adam on Twitter at Caplan NFL. The one receiver they did get was the Nick Sirianni connection. Zach Pascal, 1-year deal. Jason Avant said earlier this week, Adam, he's a situational receiver. So the Eagles got a Sirianni guy on a 1-year deal, a situational receiver, as Avant describes it.
Yeah, look, just to understand what he is. Again, understanding personnel is understanding what a guy is. We just discussed Quez Watkins, who's a marginal starting receiver, but a good story development. Zach Pascal will never be any better than he really is. He's a backup, physical, smart, tough, does everything you ask. He's more of a slot receiver than outside. He's a big slot. He's about 6'1" and 0.2 of an inch. He's not fast. He's here. Everybody knew. We had said about a week and a half ago that the Eagles are probably going to try to they have interest in him, is what we had said. But now what we don't know, and I'm not so sure they would have signed him if they got Allen Robinson. Because remember, Jalen Reagor's still on the team. Greg Ward, they re-signed. Eagles running it back with re-signing 4 players this week, which is kind of funny. But overall, I think when you look at Zach Pascal, the reason why he started last year is 2 reasons. And I think this is what completely missed when people were upset. He only played a lot for 2 reasons. T.Y. Hilton suffered a significant injury, and Paris Campbell once again got hurt and missed significant time. So he went from being their 4th receiver to their 2nd for a lot of the season. So just understand what the guy is and what he isn't. I think we need to understand that before we throw our hands up in the air and start screaming. But people are acting like this is going to. But trust me, we'll get into the other signings. None of these signings impact the draft whatsoever. They're not going to solve anything. So it's depth, it's competition, but that's all it is. Folks, don't get up in arms. The Eagles have 3 first-round picks and 10 picks overall as we speak. And I think some people, Josh, just because they want free agency to be fantasy football, and that's not the way it works.
Yeah, and listen, you don't want to be like the Jags and overspend to get 2 receivers like Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, because if the Eagles did that, Adam, we'd be ripping them right now. If the Eagles gave the Christian Kirk contract to Christian Kirk here, people would be up in arms.
Yeah, and by the way, you have a right as an Eagles fan to be upset, be disappointed that as we reported, really within 24 hours after free agency started before most of the information got out. Here are their targets. Here's when they made offers to, and here's kind of where they're at. And yeah, they were 1 for 3. They're batted .333. That'd be good in baseball, but it's not good enough in the NFL. Doesn't absolve the Eagles for not getting these players, but again, they don't. Right. You couldn't offer a better deal to Marcus Williams. They were not going to go over market, which is what they did with Byron Jones. Think about this now. For all the people who were disappointed they didn't get Byron Jones, he's been a disappointment for the Dolphins. He just restructured his contract. The Darius Slay has been way better than he has been. So look, we're not taking the Eagles side here. We're trying to be objective about the whole situation. I've covered this business for 19 years. I know how I covered the 11 free agency for the Eagles, which was an absolute disaster. The dream team year. Yep. They spent stupid money, John Middleton money. They did a terrible job of evaluation, everyone concerned with it, and they failed. They didn't do that this time. The guys that they were in on, all of them would have been good decisions, that based on what we heard from league sources.
You mentioned the guys they did re-sign, Adam. Boston Scott, Greg Ward, Derek Barnett, Anthony Harris. I know the average Eagle fan is happy about Boston Scott, but they're maybe kind of shrugging their shoulders or rolling their eyes about the other 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, Boston Scott, I guess I'm the leader of the fan club. I know there are a lot of fans who like him, but I guess he just didn't have enough interest around the league. He's been such a good fill-in starter or good backup running back. I understand running backs totally fungible. You can find them anywhere, but he probably has more value to the Eagles than he does anyone else. I get it. 1-year deal for him. He was looking, I think Jeff put it out at the Combine, that he was looking to find a better role elsewhere. And since he didn't, he came back. Okay. Greg Ward's back. No surprise there because the money's nothing. It was like 75% less than the RFA tender. So yeah, why not bring him back? But I would hope though, Josh, and this is what I lamented before free agency started. I said, if he comes back, I really hope they use the guy because they failed this staff. Like they didn't, I understand he's not fast. That's not the point. The guy gets open. Now, did he have some drops? Yes. He should have been used way more than he was because, as you know, Josh, they were looking for somebody to actually get open last season. That was a problem. And Anthony Harris, look, he's a little bit younger than Rodney McLeod, and he's not coming off of the injury history that he has. Marcus Epps right now would be a starter. They really like him. He did a good job. A lot of teams that we spoke to last season who would play the Eagles and doing advanced work really said his tape stood out. But I do find it fascinating. They made a significant offer to Marcus Williams, so that gives you the answers to the test. They think that Anthony Harris is not the answer for the future past the season, and they're looking to upgrade. So I'm just going to be fascinated. Do they spend one of these first 4 picks in the first 2 rounds on a safety?
You mentioned about them giving the answers to the test, Adam. The offseason is not done yet. We could still see them make some significant moves in the draft. For example, you, Adam, and Jeff have talked about on the podcast, there's a possibility they trade one of those first round picks, possibly. So there's a lot of variables that could happen between now and, let's say, August.
Yeah, and look, there's free agency. I know there's a report out of Miami about Devontae Parker, who'd be a really good signing for them in terms of what he's been an underachiever, but he's got talent. He's now 29 years old, which he turned in January. He's had an injury history, but he'd be an upgrade of anyone they would have who could be a starter as of now. And he's got size and he could run. But there's an injury history you're concerned about. He's got 2 years left on his deal. The thing is, though, there are a lot of teams on it because free agency's been picked over at wide receiver. So he's not making a ton of money. He's got a very, very good contract to trade for it, and the Dolphins would be responsible for the dead money. So it's a very tradable contract. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, you're right. Look, they've got 3 first-round picks. They've got a lot of maneuverability to trade up if they want to get a corner or a receiver if they felt need be. Probably more of a pass rusher or a corner. I don't know if there'd be a receiver you trade up for. Though I know they like Garrett Wilson and kid from Arkansas. The fact of the matter is they've got a lot of maneuverability, and they will solve a lot of issues in the draft. I know, though, that they would have liked to, like talking to the Panthers, just the Panthers were super aggressive in free agency, not on a lot of big end players, but they felt now they have so much flexibility. They don't have the Eagles draft capital, but they were a team that looked at free agency like the Eagles, but they went for volume in free agency rather than pressing on 2 or 3 big time players.
Do we read anything into Derek Barnett getting a 2-year deal as compared to the other guys getting 1-year deals?
I don't have the terms yet. I have the terms of most of these deals. I'd be shocked if it has a 2-year structure, which means that there would be enough guaranteed money in year 2 for them to have to keep him. That's not the way the Eagles do business. For the most part, that would be shocking to me, quite frankly, if they did more than a 1-year structure. But look, he's a depth rotational. He'll be in that rotation. Could he start opposite Josh Sweat? Yes, but they're going to do something at defensive end for the draft. It's too early to know. We usually find out. We put the Rager stuff 2 years ago, about 3 weeks before. We put it out like I'm going to say, first week of April that the guy the Eagles really like a lot is Jalen Rager. Right. We didn't know then they were going to definitely draft him. We just said this is one of their big. This is the first target we put out. We didn't know about. We just didn't understand. Justin Jefferson that early, kind of because I know they were split on Jefferson. I know there were members of the coaching staff who are no longer with the Eagles, Josh, who did not like Justin Jefferson enough, which was obviously a terrible mistake, which is why you have to be careful of how much you listen to coaches. You certainly need to talk to them and get information from them. But what I've learned in this business is, Josh, coaches will love you if you get it right. They won't worry about if you didn't get their guy. And that's kind of the way the Eagles have to look at this.
I want to ask you, this has been a crazy busy NFL offseason. You cover the entire league.
Yep.
Can you put a little context, in your time covering the league, how crazy, because, for someone like me, we're talking about it, or for the fan listening, they're hearing about it, but you're kind of in the middle of it. How crazy has it been?
the quarterback situations are driving this. Obviously, they're just craziness of the Deshaun Watson situation, which the Eagles were very involved in, by the way. Don't let anyone tell you differently. They were involved definitely recently in terms of checking into it and so forth. But they were never given a chance because Watson wasn't going to come to Philly there are a variety of reasons. But the quarterback stuff has driven it. The craziness of the Tyreek Hill story. My reporting on this, I put it out on Sports Grid 2 days ago. And then Drew Rosenhaus kind of confirmed it a day later, more or less. What I'd heard was with Hill, Josh, that they had a verbal agreement with Rosenhaus and Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs did, and then they backed out, which they're allowed to do. They didn't sign anything because the Devontae Adams deal got done, and that was for a different structure than Hill was getting and potentially more money. So the sweepstakes were done, and Jeff Mosher reported that the Eagles were not in on it at all, which would make sense because they have so many needs. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I would have definitely checked into it. They're ready to take the next step. I mean, they definitely are. They need to take the next step. They need a major factor receiver, but it's how much are you willing to mortgage? You're willing to mortgage 5 draft picks. That's something you have to ask yourself at this point because the receiver position, Josh. Receivers about 31 to 32 lose their legs. And Tyreek Hill now turns, he turns what, 30? I think he's 29 now. Great player, by the way. And don't forget about the off-the-field history. He turns 29. He just turned 28. Next March, he turns 29. So you got to figure you get 3 years out of him if he stays healthy. But it's not an easy call. But I do believe the Dolphins overpaid for a wide receiver. That's just he's not a quarterback. That's just too much.
Yeah, 5 draft picks is just eye-popping.
And not to get any picks back. Yeah, it's crazy.
And by the way, good for the Chiefs. Now they got what? They got 5 picks in the top 100 here, so.
Yeah, look, it's funny that Marquez Valdez-Scantling situation. What's interesting is the Packers made a push to re-sign him, and he spurned the Packers. He wanted to play with Mahomes. Good for him.
It's been a wild NFL offseason. Of course, all the Eagles intel and more. Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Follow Adam on Twitter at Caplan NFL for all of your Eagles NFL updates. And join us right here on a Friday edition of Football at 4 on 97.3 ESPN. Adam, great stuff today.
Thank you.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Of course, the 4 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by PropSwap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bet, take your profit. Find out how at PropSwap.com or by downloading the PropSwap app today. We'll check in with you guys have to say on the text board, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging out with you till 6 o'clock. More NFL talk with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports at 5:25.
There's only one place for live sports and sports talk in South Jersey. Oh, yeah! Your sports station is 97.3 ESPN.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
It's time for the madness of hoops. Real sports bettors use the free PropSwap app to find the best deals on all their favorite teams. Every tournament, PropSwappers make thousands of dollars by simply buying and selling college basketball teams. And the best part is you can buy and sell on PropSwap without ever leaving your couch. Now is the time to find those Cinderellas while the odds are high. Jump on the PropSwap app. Buy a handful of tickets and enjoy buckets of cash and all the moments of madness. Cinderella stories happen every year, so download the free PropSwap app today and make sure you're holding great ticket to the big dance. It's easy. If you see a ticket you like but think the price is too high, you can even submit a bid for a price you think is fair. Then buy it. The PropSwap app even has exclusive fantastic features like filtering listed tickets based on best value, a free activity feed to stay in the know with all the big sales, Join the real sports bettors on PropSwap today and PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app. PropSwap, where America buys and sells sports bets.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved with 0 down, 0.9% financing for 60 months, or $1,000 cash back at Matt Blatt Kia on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. $1,705 per $1,000 for 60 months. $1,000 off all 2022 Stingers. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 4/6/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Dorothy Roofing. Call 1-877-97-Kevin.
Do you own a commercial property? Are you in need of a dependable, honest roofer? For repairs, replacements, coatings, and more, give us a call today at 1-877-97-Kevin.
Wizard quality comes with DorothyRoofing.com.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
With South Jersey information you need to know, I'm Vin Avenue. Senator Vince Palestina has introduced legislation to increase fiscal oversight of the Atlantic City Board of Education and School District. Middle Township police investigate an accident where a man was killed while riding his bicycle, and federal funding for COVID testing programs and treatment sites comes to an end on Tuesday. Get more South Jersey information right now on our app. Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow has your forecast. Next.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. There is a chance a shower is plugged into the forecast for tomorrow, but our biggest weather story this weekend by far is the big cool down settling in. Tonight, partly cloudy, quiet, and cool, low temperature 44, and tomorrow's high 54, noticeably cooler than today, with clouds and some sun. Also watch for those scattered rain showers, especially in the afternoon. Sunday looks chilly, partly sunny, and only 47. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
This week's feature bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. Happy Hour Friday edition here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. If you follow 97.3 ESPN on Twitter or myself at Josh Hennig on Twitter, I purposely used that GIF today. The GIF I used for talking about who's coming on the show today. You guys haven't seen it, go check it out. At 973 ESPN on Twitter or at Josh Hennig on Twitter. Sometimes there's a GIF for everything, and I felt that GIF was the best gift for a Happy Hour Friday. Or at least my version of Happy Hour Friday on 97.3 ESPN. A couple messages I want to get to here in this segment. We haven't got to do messages in a little bit of a while, so I want to get to them now. Of course, text board is open at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. B in Summers Point sends a message into the app. A bit of a long message, so I'll try to condense a little bit. It says, with Watson, the first response from his camp about the first accusations is that it was all just kind of like a setup, and that, once the accusation went from 5 to 8 to 15 and now 22, only time will tell if the initial response was actually right when things actually come out. But as always, the NFL circus never ends. Sometimes there is another side to the story. We may never know who was behind it or the other stuff about whether he was guilty or not. Yeah, B, for Summers Point, part of the problem with the Deshaun Watson stuff is because he is not going to be criminally charged. He has now had 2 different grand juries dismiss the opportunity to bring criminal charges against him. It gets back to what exactly the evidence is. And I'm not in on those depositions. I'm not in the courtroom conversation. But there's 2 sides of this story for me. One is Watson says he had 40 different women who were giving him massages. So if 22 of the 40 said something wrong happened, something smells fishy. Whether he's ever found criminally guilty or not doesn't mean that he can't be found guilty in a civil court of law where the level of evidence, the weight of it is not as high. Innocent until proven guilty, beyond a reasonable doubt. These things are in criminal court. Civil court, it's basically just, you've all seen Judge Judy. You just need enough to convince the judge or the jury just to give you what you want, So, but here's the other problem with it. Somebody texted in yesterday saying that these lawyers make a lot of money off these civil cases. There's a part of me that wonders, was the entire situation built on making money and not built on actually accusing? Could there have been more evidence out there that would have helped the case against Deshaun Watson in a criminal court, but it was kind of neglected or forgotten about or not cared about as much because this lawyer wants to get his 33%, 40% of the pie in terms of a civil case? I'm not a very trusting individual by nature. So, I can't verify if this lawyer is actually a trustworthy guy or not. For all we know, he could be some sleazy guy who's using these women to make himself some money. We don't know what exactly happened or didn't happen between I just forgot his name, Deshaun Watson. I almost said somebody else's name. I don't want to bury somebody else here. Between Deshaun Watson and these women, what we do know is nobody wants to tell us anything, because when Watson was asked about it today at the press conference, every answer he gave well, I grew up with a single mom. I love my family. I love my aunts. They didn't raise me this way. You're not answering the question. The question is, what happened that would lead somebody to think that something happened that you don't think happened? Can't answer that question. The whole thing just stinks. Just something is off with the whole thing. Phil chimes in over at 609-403-0973, says, asked about Stephon Gilmore. So here's the latest with Stephon Gilmore. It's funny you bring that up because I just saw something about him the other day. So apparently, the assumption this offseason was that Gilmore was initially going to be re-signed by the Panthers. Remember, the Panthers traded for him mid last season. Well, apparently, sometime between the end of the season and early March, talks fell apart between the Panthers and Gilmore, putting him in position to be a free agent. So while the Panthers have re-signed guys and extended guys on their roster, they haven't been able to lock in Gilmore. Now, the assumption is that if Gilmore hit the open market, he would be the number one corner out there. The problem is that has been completely flipped on its head. It looks like the problem is, and again, this is everything I've heard and read, is that Gilmore was looking for big money. And when the big money didn't appear, he kind of had to take a step back. There's a lot of corners who are signing 1-year contracts right now. Okay. This week you've seen guys like, for example, the Panthers, Rashawn Melvin, he signed a 1-year contract. Justin Coleman with Seattle signed a 1-year contract. A lot of these guys are signing shorter term deals. Even Deion Bush with the Chiefs is a 1-year deal. He plays safety. For whatever reason, the cornerback market has gotten really washed out. Mike Hughes, a guy who I love for the Eagles to have picked up, he goes to the Detroit Lions, but for 1 year. So, to me, this sounds like Gilmore thought he was going to hit the free agent market, make some big money, and because the years and the money never came, he's kind of had to back off and maybe reassess. Even Rasul Douglas signed a 3-year, $21 million deal. That's not J.C. Jackson money. J.C. Jackson re-signed he signed with the Chargers for a crazy amount of money. I mean, I didn't think Jackson would get that much money because I was wondering, do people look at this guy and maybe wonder, is he a product of the Patriots system because he was an undrafted free agent? Gilmore was a top corner before he ever got to New England, and then he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So my assumption is that he's on the market because he was asking for crazy money, and he hasn't been able to find anything close to what he thinks he is worth. Because again, go around the league. Eli Apple re-signed with the Bengals, but for 1 year. He was in the Super Bowl. Logan Ryan goes to the Bucs for 1 year. You can go through the list of all the corners, and they're all signing for 1 year, or they're signing for, like I said, Rasul Douglas, 3 years, $21 million. There's no way Gilmore wants to sign a 3-year, $21 million contract. He's one of the best corners in the NFL, and I think he is trying to get, a big payday. So, I would love to see Gilmore in the Eagles uniform, but the problem is that you heard Adam Caplan say the Eagles are willing to pay market value for guys. They wanted to get Marcus Williams, but they weren't willing to overpay for him. They're not going to be like the Christian Kirk situation with the Jags and overpay for a guy who was a number 3 receiver on a football team to make him the potentially number 2 receiver at big cash money. So for the Eagles, I could totally see them telling Gilmore's agent, look, we'll pay you what the market calls for your agent, but we're not going to overpay for this guy unless you want to sign a 1-year, one-off deal. Then maybe we could do something. I just don't see Gilmore settling for 3 years, $30 million, right? I don't see him settling for a 1-year, $8 million deal. I'm assuming that Gilmore is going to want some real money here because he saw J.C. Jackson go out there and get a massive contract. So he thinks he's probably worth that. This is where the rubber meets the road. That's why I brought up the whole situation with Jarvis Landry when the news came out yesterday as well as today. He fired his agent. He told Clutch Sports, beat it. You didn't give me the contract you promised. I don't know how these conversations are going because I'm not in them, but I can tell you that when you fire your agent, that's a pretty big sign that the player thought one thing, the market yielded something else, and now he has to hit the reset button. And I think right now Gilmore's looking around and realizing that the big money didn't come. Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll get back to the Sixers. They're in LA again tonight versus the Clippers, Sunday versus the Suns. We'll ask Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers about this latest with the Sixers right here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
From the first four to the final four. Whoa! Listen to the NCAA tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
Power Penny days are back just in time for spring at JCPenney, and a new season brings spectacular savings. Stock up on essentials for your wardrobe and your home through Sunday.
Buzzer beaters and bracketologists, leprechauns and green beer. One more nor'easter snowstorm. You know they're going to happen in March. You just don't know when.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Every day, all month at Matt Blatt Nissan. New 2022 Titan trucks. $5,000 off. Plus, AJ, the trade man, will get you more for your trade. So you can drive a brand new Nissan with 0 down and pay 0% interest on every new Nissan in stock. Lease the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier S 4x4 King Cab. Just $279 per month with 0 security deposit. Plus, with a Matt Blatt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. Equity will be refinanced into the vehicle. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year lease. Plus tax tag and $479. Offers can be combined. Selling price MSRP $61.40. Then NN $53.2176. MSRP $33.940. Then NN $63.2542. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 4/6/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan. Black Horse Putty in Egg Harbor Township.
Did you know that doctors use Mucinex? That's right. Mucinex is the #1 OTC brand doctors trust for themselves and their families. When you have cough and chest congestion, you need a medicine that's effective and long-lasting. So with cold and flu season upon us, why would you use anything else? Mucinex 12-hour DM extended release bilayer tablets allow for immediate and extended release, relieving cough and chest congestion for 12 hours. Grab Mucinex and put yourself back in control. Use as directed.
We travel to see what's around the bend and what we're capable of. And now Capital One's new class of travel card can keep up with you. Introducing Venture X from Capital One. With 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy. Venture X, for those always asking, where next? Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The winter of 2022 is officially over. Spring has arrived, and we can start enjoying longer days and warmer weather. Hi, Tom McAllister from McAllister the Service Company. While we cannot control the weather, we absolutely can guarantee that it's going to get hot. The very last thing you want to worry about is whether your air conditioning system is going to operate when it comes time to turn it on. Talk to the experts at McAllister about replacing that older, inefficient air conditioning system. We also offer Mitsubishi ductless systems for that room that never cooled properly, or are you just tired of those noisy window units? This is a perfect time to take advantage of 12 months of 0% financing, preseason discounts, and rebates offered by the state and the utilities. Talk to the experts at McAllister at 609-927-4122 or at mcservice.com for all of your air conditioning needs. McAllister, we cannot control the weather, but we can control your comfort.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Welcome to the Caesars Sportsbook Report. The NCAA tournament is underway, and to celebrate, Caesars Sportsbook has released a brand new offer for new users. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app and get started with up to $1,100 in first bet insurance. Sign up with promo code RADIO-CZR. That's one word, and then place your first bet on the NCAA tournament, hockey, NBA, you name it. Here are the latest betting facts. Check out the NFC East with the Cowboys minus 150, Philadelphia plus 330, the Commanders are plus 500, and the Giants are plus 1,000. You must be 21 and physically present in New Jersey. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager returned only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promo for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
4 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by PropSwap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bet, take your profit. Find out how at PropSwap.com or by downloading the PropSwap app today. Sixers back in action tonight in LA. It's already been an interesting week for the 76ers as they continue their 3-game West Coast road trip. Some late nights, some extra caffeination for our next guest inside the Sixers. Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers joins us right now on 97.3 ESPN. Paul, what is your caffeine go-to drink?
I'm a big coffee guy. I will sneak some Red Bulls in there depending. If I'm not feeling the hot coffee, then like tonight might be a night where I sneak in a Red Bull instead. But generally speaking, it's coffee.
See, I'm not a Red Bull guy at all. I think it tastes disgusting.
See, I think it tastes good, but my issue is that's a lot of sugar, so I just have to be careful. I mean, they do have a sugar-free version, but yeah.
Now, you said hot coffee, so do you not like cold brews?
I do, but I don't often keep them stashed. I mean, sometimes, so in the summer, we actually brew the coffee and make a little extra and I put it in a pitcher and do it ice that way, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
Still not quite ready for that weather yet. So once the weather gets a little bit warmer consistently, that'll happen.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that's like, I prefer my hot coffee in the winter and my cold coffee in the summer. It's like a psychological thing, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you on there.
All right, let's get to the Sixers. It is Happy Hour Friday, so I mean we can talk whatever we want, really. But this is an interesting situation because I was kind of scratching my head. You know, Joel acts like there's nothing wrong. Harden's like, oh, I just got kicked in the quad, and it's like, okay, but Joel, you were grabbing your back and doing stretching in the middle of the basketball court at halftime, and James, you got kneed in the quad on the same leg as the messy hamstring. So I understand these guys, they want to be out there, they want to play, they're trying to play it down, but how much do the Sixers need to protect them from themselves, Paul?
A pretty good bit. I think that's part of what you saw them both of those guys sit out against the Miami Heat is I think the team trying to find that balance. The issue, there's a couple different issues. One, you still have a legitimate shot at that 1 seed. You are right there in the thick of it. So while that's not the most important thing at all, clearly the most important thing is health. You still have a shot at it, and if you can get it, you should try to go get it. So that's a part of the equation. The other thing is we haven't seen a lot of James Harden and Joel Embiid, and then James Harden with the other supporting cast, and you need time to figure that out. You don't want to get to the playoffs and feel like you're behind. Like you need all of the minutes you can with James Harden and Joel Embiid. So there is a balance where you're balancing the top of it. It's primarily their health. That's the top of it. That's the biggest thing. But then winning and getting that 1 seed and then also building that camaraderie, they're also there too. So it's a fine line they're going to have to walk. And yeah, I think part of it is these two guys want to play. They want to play every night. And, for as much as James Harden's reputation and all that, he's a guy that plays big minutes. He led the league in minutes 1 year and played all 82 games. He wants to play every single night. As you've seen, as you've heard from Joel Embiid, he's tired of that stigma and that narrative about him missing games. So both of these guys want to play every game, and it's going to be the team that's going to have to tell them, hey, you need to take a blow here.
You mentioned the 1 seed. There is a narrative out there, not from me or you, but from other people who are conjecturing the Sixers don't want a high seed because they want to avoid the Nets potentially in the first round. I mean, I can't see a scenario where the Sixers are going to be like, we're going to try to avoid the Nets. Like, you can't. There's so many variables because you can't control them.
Right. And really, the 1 seed is the one where you're probably safest because the Nets are probably going to finish 7 or 8, and they're likely not going to be the lowest, because obviously it's 7, 8, 9, 10 in the play-in tournament. If Brooklyn's a part of that, they're likely not going to be the lower seed, right, in that equation. So you would think the 1 seed, you'd be pretty safe. But yeah, Josh, I think when you start playing to avoid a team or to go up against a certain matchup, I think that's where you get yourself in trouble. You're going to have to play all these teams eventually if you want to win. And listen, no one really wants to play the Nets in the first round. I mean, whether it's Milwaukee or Milwaukee or Boston or the Heat or the Sixers, like none of those teams want to play Boston in the first round because But then the other flip side of that coin is in this Eastern Conference, there are no cupcakes. Every team is going to be tough. The only teams I would say, if you're the Sixers, of course, you'd rather play Cleveland or Chicago because you've handled both of those teams all year long, and there's still a greenness, I would say, to both of those rosters. Whereas, a team like Toronto is one you probably don't want to play in the first round either. They're playing really well. They do a lot of funky stuff defensively, and it has thrown Joel Embiid off in the past, as we've seen. So, really, in the Eastern Conference, Brooklyn is a team I least would like to play, but there are no cupcakes. There is no easy ride to the second round in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I said it earlier, Paul. There's 5 teams in the East that I can see taking the Sixers 7 games in a series. It's the Heat, it's the Bucks, it's the Celtics, it's the Raptors, and it's the Nets. And I think all 5 of those teams bring something to the table that could be problematic.
For sure. And I think, again, all those other teams are probably not feeling great about the prospects of facing James Harden and Joel Embiid in the first or second round or even the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, it's going to be a bloodbath, I feel like, in Eastern Conference. I even look at like the play-in game. A team like Atlanta, I don't really want to mess with Atlanta. I mean, you're going to have to, again, I would rather play them than the Brooklyn Nets, but I don't look forward to playing that team and having to go up against Trae Young in a potential 7-game best of 7 series.
Right.
And you've seen how kind of dangerous they can be. They're very Jekyll and Hyde this year, but when they're good, they're really good. So, clearly like a team like Charlotte, again, they're inexperienced. So maybe that's why you'd prefer them, but that's not an easy matchup going up against LaMelo Ball. We see what Gordon Hayward has done if he's able to be healthy and play, what he's done at times against the Sixers. Miles Bridges is a guy who's really progressed this year, maybe a candidate for most improved player. So again, you trying to pick and choose your opponent, I think, is a dangerous game. And I think you have to worry about you. You have to worry about improving your team and being in the best position so that whoever you play in round 1, you're at your peak at that point.
At Paul Hudrick on Twitter, Liberty Ballers, where you catch his coverage of the 76ers inside the Sixers right now here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday. You put out a tweet that I thought was very interesting. You said the Sixers get James Harden, and now we're watching Tyrese Maxey develop into a closer. Feels very Sixers. I thought that was an incredible tweet because I would have retweeted it, but I fell asleep. But I'll admit it. When I pass out in my zero gravity chair all the time.
I don't blame you.
But it was great because Maxey, from what he was last year to who he is now, has been above and beyond a validation to me of this franchise. Because how many times do we hear his name in rumors, right? He was in the Harden to Houston rumor. He was in other rumors, and it's looking like the Sixers keeping him may be the biggest win of the season.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking back at that James Harden deal, and I know, I see a lot of people when I talk to them about the deal, they'll say, yeah, that's great. They got James Harden, but they gave up a lot. They had to give up Seth Curry. They had to give up Andre Drummond. And now the backup center situation is a mess. Their guard rotation isn't great, isn't as deep as it was with Seth Curry leaving. But I mean, the big win is you don't give up Maxey, you don't give up Matisse Thybulle. To keep those two guys, it's a win of a trade. And maybe it doesn't work out this year, Josh. Like maybe they don't go to the championship. It's very possible. But for you to have next year going into the season, Joel Embiid, I would imagine I would be stunned if James Harden doesn't opt into that team option. Another improved year of Tyrese Maxey, which we've already seen the leap from year 1 to year 2. Imagine that leap from year 2 to year 3 is going to be pretty special as well. And again, Matisse Thybulle is a year older. Some of these other guys, and Isaiah Joe is going to be a year older. So to keep Tyrese Maxey through all this, Yeah, it's a huge win. This guy is going to, if he's not there, he's going to be a star. He's got that kind of potential. And what you hear from everyone that's around him, everyone that's been around him, all his teammates, the coaches, he works harder than anyone. Like for Joel Embiid, who played with Jimmy Butler, who we know, Mr. Jimmy Butler, Mr. I wake up at 3 a.m. for, noon shoot-arounds. For Joel Embiid to say that Tyrese Maxey is the hardest worker I've ever been around, that is really saying something. This guy, when you look at his improvement, for me, the shooting is the biggest thing. This is a guy who, coming out of Kentucky, was below 30% from three. Last year, hovered around 30% from three. This season, he is at over 40% on a higher volume and a higher usage rate. I don't think people understand how incredible that progression is to go from a below league average shooter on a low volume to an elite number at a fairly high volume. That's special. And that's just a testament to how much this kid works, to how much he puts in. And I have little doubt that he is just going to continue to add to his game and get better and better and better. Like he is to me, like I would be shocked if he's not an all-star in his career. He is on his way to stardom.
Oh, he'll be a multiple-time all-star. I feel like I could put a bet on that for sure, because the one thing we know is the NBA is going to eventually go through what the NFL is going through right now. All the old stars are going to retire and leave. Outside of LeBron James, all the other guys, when they get old, are going to retire. They're not going to still be playing at a high level. LeBron's just a freak. It's incredible to watch. But, eventually the one generation is going to leave, and Tyrese Maxey will be part of the next wave. And so naturally, when one guy is not around to steal an all-star vote, a guy like Maxey can just kind of fill that void.
Right. And it kind of goes back to what you said about how important it was for them to keep Maxey through all this. Because now I know there's concerns about James Harden, his age. He is, he's 32 years old, but James Harden is going to go down. Tyrese Maxey is going to go up. So as that's happening, that's super beneficial to the Sixers because they'll still get maybe they won't get the MVP level, all-star level James Harden, but they'll still get a pretty darn good version of James Harden while Tyrese Maxey ascends into that player. So that again feeds into that idea that it was just so important, so crucial to hang on to this guy. I will say this though, Josh, you're right that LeBron is definitely a freak, but even look at a guy like Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul is still playing at a high level at his age. And I think with James Harden, as he loses a little bit of that, like his game is not solely reliant on his athleticism and his explosiveness. So he has a chance to age fairly well too. Now, the injuries have been an issue. That the hamstrings have really been a problem the last 2 years. So if he can just get healthy, I think his game, and I even say some people maybe don't agree with this, but I even think Joel Embiid, his game has the potential to age very well, just because of his ability in the mid range, his ability to get to the free throw line, his ability to hit threes. His game, I think, even has a chance to mature very, very well.
Yeah, maybe Harden needs to do a little more yoga and Pilates in the offseason. But he's Paul Hudrick. Follow him on Twitter at Paul Hudrick. Liberty Ballers is the platform to get all your Sixers coverage. And, of course, he joined us for Inside the Sixers today here on 97.3 ESPN. Paul, always appreciate you jumping on the conversation.
You got it, Josh. Take care, man.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. You can hear Sixers basketball this Sunday. Sixers versus Suns on 97.3 ESPN FM. Tonight, you will have the Sweet 16 all night long. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, the NCAA tournament, the Masters, and Super Bowl 56. 97.3 ESPN.
Drive to the rim, floater good. It's the Sweet 16 on 97.3 ESPN. Experience the madness of the NCAA tournament only on 97.3 ESPN. All the buzzer beaters. All the upsets and all the big moments. March Madness on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by
Resorts Casino Hotel, home to DraftKings Sportsbook. Visit resortsac.com.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with making your yard happy. Protect your garden beds with your favorite color of premium mulch at the everyday low price of $368. Step up your curb appeal with our Greenworks 1800 PSI electric pressure washer, now only $99. Make your yard shine this spring and create a season full of happiness. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/24 through 3/30. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.
Why is it that every March, everyone's either a basketball bracketologist expert or 100% Irish? Not that there's anything wrong with the two. All you need to know this March is at Matt Blatt Kia in Egg Harbor Township or Toms River. If you have a job clearing $350 per week, you could be approved with zero down, 0.9% financing for 60 months, or $1,000 cash back at Matt Blatt Kia on every clearly marked new Kia in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. $1,705 per $1,000 for 60 months. $1,000 off all 2022 Stingers. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 4/6/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying. She says her gums are irritated. Is there anything you can do? You can try new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days.
If you suspect you have mold in your home, water damage in your basement or crawl space, or a foundation problem, call Perfect Basement. If you're selling your home, address the problems before your buyer discovers them. Perfect Basement provides free, no-pressure inspections for waterproofing, mold remediation, and foundation repair. They're family-owned in South Jersey, licensed and certified, and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Visit perfectbasement.com and check out their exclusive price guarantee and great reviews. That's perfectbasement.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. It's also AutoZone's national hiring event. We're hiring all positions, from sales to warehouse and drivers, both part-time and full-time. Visit careers.autozone.com or any one of our stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
If you're ready to get back to work or just thinking about changing careers, 97.3 ESPN's Virtual Job Fair is the place to start. Just go to the 97.3 ESPN app and tap on the Virtual Job Fair to find exciting opportunities from
Maurice Piers in Wildwood,
Evolution Gaming in Atlantic City.
Peruse all our exhibitors and learn about opportunities just like you would at a live job fair. Take the first step to a brighter future. Visit 97.3 ESPN's Virtual Job Fair at 973ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN app.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
Tyndall Auto Plaza has the area's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, with over 170 pre-owned vehicles on their huge 100-acre lot. Everything from sporty coupes to SUVs to trucks. Tyndall offers the area's best buying experience, easy and hassle-free, with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. Discover why Tyndall customers are so loyal. Shop for your next pre-owned vehicle at Tyndall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway, Stone Harbor Boulevard, or online at KindleAutoplaza.com.
With all the sports we have, every time of the year is the best time of the year.
Step back, 3-point shot in the air, bang, it's good. James Harden for 3.
On 97.3 ESPN, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Blatt Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. Happy Hour Friday, 5 o'clock hour, driving you home here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. This hour of the Sports Bash is being brought to you by AC Airport. Plan your spring break getaway now. Create memories that last a lifetime. Start with nonstop flights from Atlantic City to Cancun, San Juan, and Miami. Book your low-cost flight today at spirit.com. Well, it's certainly been an interesting week in sports, and it gets capped off with this Cleveland fiasco. For those who didn't hear, so the owners of the Haslams, Jimmy and his wife, they had a separate press conference, but pretty much repeated the same stuff that was said earlier in the day. So basically, the Browns continue to insult all of our intelligence and try to explain to us that the reason why Deshaun Watson is innocent is because they hired an independent investigator, and that everyone has a mother and a daughter and a sister and an aunt and a cousin who's a female. And it's like, I'm not really sure how that's a explanation for anything, really. So let the Browns keep digging themselves a hole. Let them have fun with that. Because I'm certainly not accepting their explanation, to say the least. What a mess. Also, I said earlier in the day that I was expecting some random news story to happen today, and it hasn't. And I'm shocked. Usually every Friday, it feels like at this point in the day, there's something that happens, something that comes up. And today it's actually been a mostly quiet news day. And I don't know if I should be relieved or disappointed at this point. Don't forget, coming up at 5:25, we'll talk more NFL with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. And then tonight at 7 p.m., of course, coverage of the Sweet 16 here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, last night was a lot of results that were unexpected. Tonight, I'm hoping that things go a little differently for a couple teams. I would love to see St. Peter's. I want to see a good game. I don't foresee them specifically winning overtly, but I just think that spread, I think it's still 12.5. It's just way too much. You've heard my featured bet of the week, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook over at Bally's Casino and Resort in Atlantic City. I think North Carolina is going to win tonight. I think that what's being overlooked about UCLA is they're without two of their five best players right now. Kazinga, and I forget the other guy's name. I think it's Drew. But Drew practiced, but Kazinga hasn't been practicing, and it looks like both of them are going to miss. So I just think that North Carolina, they're not just a healthier team, they're the hotter team. So I think North Carolina outright win tonight. And the last time I checked, that was plus 118. So there's still some plus value there for you. Of course, the NCAA tournament tonight, all weekend long. You hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And again, my featured bet of the week brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook over at Bally's Casino and Resort. Must be 21 or older to play. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Getting back to the Eagles, we were talking with Adam Caplan an hour ago, and he was very adamant when he was saying, look, the Eagles have been going after people. They're trying to sign people. They're willing to go out and spend the money. It's just that some of these guys are just not interested in signing with the Eagles, or someone else is giving them more money. And I don't think you can undersell the fact that the Eagles are trying. It's not like they're sitting on their hands and doing nothing. Adam said they had 3 major targets this offseason. They got one of the 3. And then one of their other targets got taken away from them because Calvin Ridley is being suspended for an entire year. And I know for a lot of Eagle fans right now on March 25th, it is disappointing. It is frustrating. It is not the best at all. But it's not like the Eagles are doing absolutely nothing. I think that you have a situation where there's two problems Philadelphia is in. And I know when I've asked people about this week, some people agree with me, some people disagree with me. And I understand that. And not everyone has to agree with everything I got to say. I'm fine with that. But I think that there is no coincidence that Philadelphia used to be a destination. Philadelphia was a place during the Andy Reid era and then during part of the Doug Peterson era that people were like, I want to go to Philadelphia. I want to play for that coach. I want to play with those teams. I want to play with those players. I don't think it's a coincidence that the pendulum has swung now in the other direction, that when push came to shove, people are not so willing to sign with the Eagles overtly. You know, you heard Adam Caplan say that the Eagles were finalists for Allen Robinson and Marcus Williams, but both guys got more money from somebody else. And I don't want to see the Eagles overspend. You know, look what's going on with the Cowboys right now. They are in a hole right now because they gave that stupid gargantuan contract to Ezekiel Elliott. Then they had to pay Dak Prescott. And now they claim, well, we can't afford Amari Cooper. Well, we're not going to outbid the Broncos for Randy Gregory. Well, we're not going to overpay to bring in certain players. We're trying to get guys at a certain value or cost because they mismanaged their money. Look at the Washington football team, now called the Washington Commanders. I'm going to call them the Washington football team for the next few months. It's probably going to take me until September to get the name of the team right. I mean, Daniel Snyder, just go away. But anyway, so the Washington Commanders, they go out there and they bring in Carson Wentz as their quarterback instead of Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield or Mitchell Trubisky. Not that any of their options were good. Well, why are they in this position? They're in this position because the organization has completely mismanaged that position every step of the way. Washington has not had a stable presence at quarterback since Kirk Cousins. And they haven't had a franchise quarterback in, 40 years? Who was the last franchise quarterback in a Washington uniform? Joe Theismann? I mean, think about how poorly that organization has managed things. So I'm not going to sit here and, act like the Eagles are in the wrong for how they've managed the offseason when they're trying. But I am at the same time going to point a finger at them and say, you've dug this hole. You put yourself in this position that people don't value you as much as you value yourself. Philadelphia was a place that people came to. Now they're looking around to get money from somebody else because at the end of the day, they like Philadelphia. They don't love Philadelphia. What do the Ravens have that the Eagles don't? Stability at the head coach position. What do the Rams have that Philadelphia doesn't have? Stability at the head coach position. What do the Ravens and the Rams have that the Eagles don't? A lot of players in the prime of their careers. It's not a diss against Nick Sirianni, to say the truth. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not true. Look, if I'm an NFL free agent and I can play for the defending Super Bowl champions and they're willing to pay me more money than the Philadelphia Eagles, unless I love Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman, and a partridge in a pear tree, and Gritty as well, and the Liberty Bell, and etc., I'm going to the Rams. Listen, this isn't if Philadelphia had a different angle than what they have right now, and people were saying no, I'd be a little more shocked. But guess what? If all things are equal and you can make more money, I will never begrudge an athlete for maximizing his financial value. You have a small window to make money. And if someone's going to pay you more money, then you're going to go there. Otherwise, when push comes to shove, John Harbaugh has a ring. Sean McVay has a ring. Sean McVay and the Rams have been the 2 Super Bowls, and they're 1-1 in that game, 2 in the last few years. I think that if I have a chance to maybe win a championship and make a lot of money, sounds like a good deal. John Harbaugh has been the head coach in Baltimore for over a decade. That's stability. The Philadelphia Eagles have had 3 head coaches in the last 10 years. Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. And whether Jeffrey Lurie likes to hear this or not, perception is you have a rotating door of people coming in and out of your organization. You have an organization that has a head coach who is still learning and green around the gills. You have a coaching staff that is also very young. Zach Pascal came here because of Nick Sirianni. Who else is coming here because of Nick Sirianni? Nobody. And let's be realistic. Boston Scott, Greg Ward, Derek Barnett re-signed with the Eagles because they couldn't get better deals elsewhere. And they realized at least they're comfortable in Philadelphia. Listen, I don't hate Nick Sirianni, but I'm telling you the truth. If I have a chance to play for a championship organization or a championship coach or be uplifted by a great coaching staff, I'm going to go there. It doesn't matter who the players are. You think Philadelphia's the only place nobody's going to? They're leaving Dallas too. Mike McCarthy's a buffoon. Mike McCarthy's arguably the most overrated coach in the NFL. You watched Hard Knocks last year, you realized that dude thinks very highly of himself, and he is not great. Okay? He is not anything special at all. I'd rather play for Nick Sirianni than Mike McCarthy. Woo! I mean, that one scene where Dak Prescott is at practice and McCarthy's trying to talk to him, and Dak just completely gives him the whistle and the wave, and he's like, I ain't talking to you. And then Kellen Moore walks over, and Dak perks up and like, hey, Kellen, how you doing? It's like, that's what you think of the head coach. So people ain't going to Dallas either. It's not like a bunch of free agents are running the Green Bay right now. Not that they can't turn that around, but Aaron Rodgers, league MVP. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has this big tweet online saying how happy he is to go play for the Chiefs. Now, this money is life-changing. And Devontae Adams leaves to go back to his hometown team, the Raiders, and to play with his buddy Derek Carr. And Rodgers is sitting there like, well, you know, I got MVPs. Got long hair. I'm single again. You know, I'm a good wingman. Would that be hilarious if that was the pitch Rodgers gave somebody, this free agent? I'll be your wingman in Green Bay. Like, what? Wait, what? But back to the Eagles. The point of all this is that, as Adam Caplan was saying, the Eagles are in on a lot of these players, but they're choosing other destinations, either for more money or because the situation is better. Get some of your guys' thoughts and comments. Of course, you can always DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. And of course, the text message is open as well at 609-403-0973. Jay and EHT. chimes in and says, to be honest, I really can't believe that all these NFL teams would even entertain bringing on a guy in like Deshaun Watson with so much legal and civil baggage and then believe he's not even going to miss games. The negative PR that having him as your quarterback would generate, it just doesn't seem like it's a risk worth the reward. Excuse me, that's from Jay and EHT. Excuse me. Jay, here's the problem. The Browns don't have a soul anymore. Remember, this is the organization that took on Kareem Hunt before he even got suspended by the league. The Chiefs cut him. Then the Browns picked him up. Then he got suspended. This is a guy who was on film basically kicking, hitting, and throwing women. We have tangible evidence of this guy hurting people. And the Browns brought him in anyway. And the Browns still have him on their team. So I'm not surprised at all that the Browns are spinning this the way they are, because the organization already has a track record of enabling these kind of people. Now, look, not every NFL team is willing to sell their soul like the Browns. So JDHT is right. Not every NFL team would entertain this scenario. As I've said before, I hate when people make the analogy between Vick and Watson, because Michael Vick went to jail, served time, then came out of jail and was given a prove-it contract from the Eagles. It was only later when he showed contrition, when he showed he grew up as a human being, when he showed that he could still play, then they gave him the fat $100 million contract. Watson's legal situation is still playing out. Not every NFL team wants to deal with that. JDHC is right. Not every NFL team wanted Deshaun Watson. Look, the reason why a team like the Eagles was interested in Deshaun Watson is because the Eagles are always looking for the next quarterback, the next guy, the next whatever. They did their research. Deshaun Watson didn't want to come here. The Eagles moved on. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Reggie from Seattle City says, I don't think anyone wants to play for a guy that's telling you to keep fertilizing and wants to play rock, paper, scissors in draft interviews. Go Birds. That's from Reggie in Seattle. Well, here's the thing, Reggie. I don't think Sirianni is disliked because of those things. I think Sirianni is just, it's like he's the unknown. To use a dating analogy, if you were in high school and there was a new girl in your school and you knew the other girls and you are much more aware of you would probably enjoy dating another girl more than somebody else, you're probably not giving the new girl a chance because she doesn't establish a track record with you or a track record with anybody. Dating is very similar to how these situations go in the NFL free agency, right? Free agency. It's basically like speed dating. Why should I keep dating you? Why should I invest my time and energy with you? Why should I take you on a date? Why should I go introduce you to my parents and so on and so forth? And Sirianni is the one that is just less appealing than Harbaugh, McVay, Kyle Shanahan, etc. At least he's better than Mike McCarthy. By the way, Anthony in Atlantic City says Sean Payton is probably the coach for the Cowboys next season, right? That's from Anthony in Atlantic City. I assume so. I assume that Jerry's going to want to get get Sean McVay. He's the one that got away. I can totally see that. All right, more NFL talk coming up next. CBS Sports NFL writer Jeff Kerr joins us next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig hanging out with you till 6 p.m.
From the first four to the final four. Whoa! Listen to the NCAA tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Searching for fun ways to spend your tax return? Boats for cats. Oh, flotation devices for cats. Don't waste it all on something silly. Spend smarter with Straight Talk. Get our Silver Unlimited plan for $45 a month with unlimited high-speed data and 5 gigs of hotspot data on the nation's largest, most dependable networks with nationwide 5G. If you're looking to get the most out of your refund, your search ends here. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette. It's time for March markdowns at Bennett Chevrolet. All month long, Bennett's paying a minimum $8,000 for any trade. No joke. You'll get at least $8,000 for any old rundown rot box. Just get it here for a minimum $8,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. But this special offer is only during March markdowns. Got a good trade? Bring it to Bennett. Hey, if we're paying a minimum $8,000 for junk, imagine how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. Looking for new? There's no beating Bennett. Because unlike other dealers, we're not selling over factory sticker. And there's 0% available financing. Plus, if you're stuck in a lease, bring it to Bennett. We can get you out early. Any make, any model. And remember, Bennett will buy yours even if you don't buy ours. Bring it in for a quick quote. No pressure or obligation. Just pure Bennett bliss. Because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Want your biggest possible tax refund this year? Jackson Hewitt and Walmart have an offer you won't want to miss. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will prepare your federal return for as little as $59 and no more than $179. Taxes done where you shop. Your biggest federal refund guaranteed for no more than $179. Stop by Jackson Hewitt in any participating Walmart store today because this offer won't last. Terms apply.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying. She says her gums are irritated. Is there anything you can do? You can try new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brake rotors and pads. Now through May 24th at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or order online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When was the last time everyone agreed on what's for dinner? You want ramen, they want pizza. Thankfully, there's something for everyone on the DoorDash app. For a limited time, get 50% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app and enter code ORDERNOW50, that's 50% off, up to a $12 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order. When you enter promo code ORDERNOW50, that's promo code ORDERNOW50, subject to change. Terms apply. Get more from your neighborhood.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
With South Jersey information you need to know, I'm Vin Abenu. Senator Vince Palestina has introduced legislation to increase fiscal oversight of the Atlantic City Board of Education and School District. Middle Township police investigate an accident where a man was killed while riding his bicycle, and federal funding for COVID testing programs and treatment sites comes to an end on Tuesday. Get more South Jersey information right now on our app. Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow has your forecast. Next.
Made a new home remodeling, helping make your dreams a reality.
What does the perfect bathroom look like to you?
Does it have a large, sleek shower? Or maybe a deep, relaxing soaking tub? Hi, I'm Brian from Made Anew Home Remodeling. We love helping homeowners transform their bathrooms into spaces that bring them joy and relaxation. If you're looking to freshen things up, please contact us through madeanewhomeremodeling.com.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. There is a chance a shower is plugged into the forecast for tomorrow, but our biggest weather story this weekend by far is the big cool down settling in. Tonight, partly cloudy, quiet, and cool, low temperature 44, and tomorrow's high 54, noticeably cooler than today, with clouds and some sun. Also watch for those scattered rain showers, especially in the afternoon. Sunday looks chilly, partly sunny, and only 47. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Mako and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, just say,
better get Mako.
And go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Don't forget the award-winning comedian Amy Schumer is coming to Ovation Hall at Ocean Resort Casino Saturday, August 6th. Tickets are on sale right now at theoceanac.com. This is the perfect text to read heading into my conversation right now with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. Because I think people, and this is not a negative against the individual texting in, because I think he's asking an honest question. But he said, Josh, would you have the same opinion about Watson if he was with the Eagles? He hasn't been found guilty of anything. And Jeff, before you came on earlier in the show, I think people like you and I have a very similar opinion about the situation with Watson, which is, sure, he hasn't been found guilty of a criminal charge, but his explanation for everything is the most pathetic thing in the world. Basically, him and the Browns think that having a mother and a sister and a aunt and a daughter mean that that's a qualifier for you never committing crimes against women.
This is my issue with Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's learned anything from this. He thinks he's innocent. And okay, you can think that, but you're right, Josh. Well, I have a sister. I was raised by my mother. Well, guess what? Most of us were. Most of us have sisters. Most of us were raised by our mothers. That's not good enough. You don't seem to feel any remorse for these 22 women that are filing these civil cases against you. You don't seem to care. It's more of, I'm not going to do anything if I am innocent. And he believes he's innocent. And that's fine. He's allowed to do that. But that press conference was not necessary today. Andrew Berry comes off looking like a fool. I'm not even sure he's even a good GM anymore because of this. Where were the Haslam's? We were out of the country. Okay, so have it next week. There was no reason to have this today. And you clearly did not prepare Deshaun Watson for this. It was the same PR answers. It was pathetic.
Yeah, and the other thing is, don't forget, these organizations pay stupid amounts of money for PR, for lawyers, for people advising them. Fire all of them. Just fire all of them right now. I mean, I think you and I would do a better job advising these people, Jeff.
Oh, I agree. Honestly, I think I would have told Deshaun Watson, hey, look, man, just be honest. Just be honest and upfront. And if that is him being honest and upfront, then we got problems here, because I would still ask him what he's going to say. And Andrew Berry definitely was not ready for a lot of those questions today. He was like, well, wait, what are you talking about? Or what was this? He looked completely stunned. Like he just thought people were going to be there to talk about football. No one cares about football with this team right now. I got slammed by Browns fans this week because I ranked them 11th out of 16 teams in the AFC. How can you do that? We have Deshaun Watson. I'm like, is Deshaun Watson even going to play this year? Like, do you really think he's going to play? You think he's going to get off scot-free? No, he's not. He's probably going to get suspended a minimum of 6 games. And after today, the NFL cannot turn a blind eye on this. They just can't.
Well, that's the other side of this, Jeff. And that is, I was saying earlier, look, it's obvious to me who the Browns are. It's obvious to me who the Eagles are. It's obvious to me who the Patriots are. It's obvious to me who the Lions are. It's obvious to me who the Jets are. It's obvious to me who the Dolphins are. It's obvious to me who the Cowboys are. It's obvious to me who the Steelers are. It's obvious to me who the Steelers are. It's obvious to me who the Eagles are. It's obvious to me who the Browns are. The Browns are the franchise that sold their soul. Remember, they brought in Kareem Hunt, and there's video of him assaulting women in that video, and men and women. Okay. And they were like, well, it's all good. He'll be fine, So obviously the Browns don't care about morality. They don't care about quality of character. They just want to win. But Jeff, can they even win in the AFC? There's like 10 teams that are probably better than them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's, they're like, how do you put the Titans ahead of us? That's what I was asked this week. Well, the Titans are better than you. They are a better team than you. Just because they did not add Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson doesn't mean they're not better. They still got Robert Woods. They still play in a weak division in the AFC South. They're going to get 2 wins against the Texans. I mean, Jacksonville's going to be better, but they're still going to beat them. They're still going to be a contender for the AFC. Cleveland, I'm not sure they're better than Baltimore. Baltimore was 8-3 and leading the AFC last year before Lamar Jackson had ankle injuries. I covered that Ravens-Browns game last year. The Browns looked pathetic, and they wanted to blame it on Baker Mayfield. It wasn't all on Baker Mayfield that night. They didn't have a great offensive line. Their defense, their secondary was terrible, and it's even worse now because they don't seem to bring anybody back. Now, Denzel Ward's going to be healthy. That's going to be huge for them, but they have a lot of work to do on this football team. It ain't just get Deshaun Watson, you're automatically better. And you're right, Josh. Everybody else in the AFC got better. I think everybody seemed to forget that in Cleveland.
Yeah. And you know what? Again, as the texter asked, we're saying what we're saying no matter what team Watson goes to. It just looks worse for Cleveland because they already brought in Kareem Hunt. Their explanation today was horrible. I mean, at some point, I just think, Jeff, people just don't care. I just think the Browns don't care. I think Deshaun doesn't care. I think that they're just going to do what they're going to do, and whatever happens, happens. And Roger Goodell is probably sitting somewhere being like, all right, how soon can I put this guy on the commissioner's list?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I was curious today because it was happening at the same time, but Marcus Mariota had his press conference, and I didn't get to see if Blank was there. I'm assuming Blank was there because Blank's always there. He don't miss that stuff. So I'm curious to see if he got any questions about Deshaun Watson or anything like that. Now, that's not fair to Marcus Mariota, obviously, but if Arthur Blank's there, I think he's going to give him a much better answer than anybody on Cleveland gave today. And you and I had the same take on Deshaun Watson from the beginning, but after today, I'm really glad he's not a member of the Eagles franchise. This is not like Michael Vick. It's not even close to what Michael Vick is.
Thank you. I've been saying that for a while now. Like no offense to Joe Banner. I hate the fact he wrote that article for his website saying that, well, this is how it's like Michael Vick. No, it's not. Vick went to jail. What's that?
Michael Vick went to jail.
Yeah, he went to jail. He served his time. Then he came to Philadelphia on a prove-it deal. They didn't give him that big contract till later. Deshaun Watson is getting $200 million plus guaranteed, and he hasn't played a down of football in over a year. And when Andrew Barry was asked about it, he says, "Can you repeat the question?"
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? He would have gotten grilled here too. Like, I'm glad Cleveland media did not fall for the national trap. And again, I'm in the national trap because that's what I do. But Mary Kay Cabot, all those guys, I think it was Nate Ulrich, they brought it today.
Jake Trotter.
Jim. Those guys and Mary Kay, really all of them, they all were ready for this. They're like, no, we're not giving into it. We're not asking him if he can win football games with the Cleveland Browns. We know he can do that. Is this guy remorseful? No, he's not. And he don't think he has a problem. The number one thing I would have said was, you know what? No matter what happens, I am going to talk to somebody because that's the right thing to do. I have to get my life on track, no matter what that is. And if you're admitting some guilt, that's fine. That's part of what being a man is. The Browns want an adult in the room. They got another child.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of the Eagles, so I had Adam Caplan on Football at 4 earlier, and he was talking about, Jeff, how the Eagles have been in on a lot of players. That they were a finalist for Allen Robinson. They were a finalist for Marcus Williams. And I said, Jeff, listen, if a Super Bowl winning coach is willing to offer you more money than somebody else, I can't begrudge Robinson or Williams for going to a different situation. Nothing against Sirianni, but he's the guy without the resume. Harbaugh and McVay have the resume.
Exactly. And look, before last year, I wouldn't know John Harbaugh from Adam and Eve. And I know everything he did in Philadelphia, but I never personally met the guy or asked the guy questions or interviewed the guy. I would love to play for John Harbaugh after the numerous press conferences I was in with him last year. Tough, big win, close win, tough loss. He always had the same mentality. And you could tell his players fed off that too. Like Lamar Jackson's an interesting character, but you could tell John Harbaugh has an effect on him. Like he goes, he's always mentioning Coach Harbaugh and the culture. And look, you're Marcus Williams. You have a chance to play with Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. You're going to get interceptions and you're going to get paid. This defense is going to be really good next year in Baltimore because they were able to get a guy like that. And it's tough because you're thinking, well, Baltimore, Philly, John Gan's defense, I'm not really sure about it yet, but I know what Mike McDonald's bringing, and I know what John Harbaugh's bringing. It's same thing out Robinson. Man, I get to catch passes from Matthew Stafford, and I get to get paid. Oh, by the way, I've had my entire career where Blake Bortles and Mitch Trubisky. Guys like that are throwing me the ball. Now I get Matthew Stafford throwing me the ball. Allen Robinson became to Philadelphia. There's no guarantee Jalen Hurts is going to throw him the ball next year. There isn't. It's that's the thing. I don't think Eagles fans understand this. Like they are not the Andy Reid Eagles anymore. This is not where Antonio Freeman, Levon Kirkland, all those T.O., all these Javon Curse, all these guys want to come here. No, you have to get better. You have to earn this. And this isn't a knock on Jalen Hurts. This is just the reality of the situation of this team right now. By the way, Stephon Gilmore's wife said the Eagles called. I'm curious to see if he's interested.
Well, let me ask you about a couple of players who are free agents. Maybe not specifically for the Eagles, but just in general. So the news came out yesterday that Jarvis Landry fired Clutch Sports as his agent. I mean, talk about, a bad situation. I mean, I got to assume that they promised him something, and when the well dried up, he was just like, I'm out.
I'd love him here. I take a shot on him in Philadelphia. The Eagles need a slot receiver. And Zach Pascal is not it. You got to go with a veteran guy like that. I think he'd be great for Jalen Hurts, and you could still draft a receiver. And all of a sudden, your wide receiver room is deep. That's why I wanted the Eagles to get a veteran receiver, because I still want them to draft one. But that's a guy that I feel more teams should be interested in than they actually are. And maybe his hip injury has a lot to do with that over the years, but he is still a really good player, and he's a reception machine. I have a feeling if the Chiefs didn't go get Juju Smith-Schuster, or if they struck out on him again, I have a feeling Jarvis Landry would have been their target.
Stephon Gilmore is still out there. Somebody texted him in earlier. Jeff, I'm looking around the market. There's a lot of corners who've gotten 1-year deals, unless their name is J.C. Jackson. And even Rasul Douglas got 3 years, $21 million. My working assumption, Jeff, is that Gilmore tried to go get a J.C. Jackson deal. Nobody wanted to give it to him, and now he's licking his wounds.
Yeah, and the thing is, Stephon Gilmore has a little bit of leverage here because I just wrote a piece for CBS Sports on Gilmore, and he did make the Pro Bowl and only played 9 games last year. He was really good. Like, opposing quarterbacks that targeted him, and you got to remember, Carolina's defense was not good last year, and they only had like a 57 passer rating targeting him. Like, he's a good player, and he's a guy that if you're the Eagles, say like, hey, look, I know you probably don't want this, but here's 1 year, $13 million, man. Take it. Like, just take it and then build your brand up again. You're 31 years old. I mean, him and Darius Slay would be deadly together. And then all of a sudden, you just got to fill the other safety position, which you could do in the draft. There's like a realistic chance you could get a Tyler Hamilton or, Kyle Hamilton. I don't know why I said Tyler. But anyway, and you could still draft a cornerback high and develop him kind of like the good old days when you had Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent, and then you develop Leo Shepard and Sheldon Brown. It makes plenty of sense. So then you could take a risk on Derek Sinley or someone like that. That's what I'm looking at over here. So that's why I think Gilmore would be a really good fit for them. It fills a huge need and a lot of problems on that defense.
You mentioned safety. There is a safety who's still out there.
There's a couple of them.
Well, there's one specifically that I feel like every Eagle fan I know would be blowing up my phone exuberant if they signed him. Honey Badger.
Again, that's another one. It's like if you can't get Gilmore, maybe you can get him. Maybe you get him on 1 year deal. But I'll tell you what, if they're not even interested in Honey Badger, there's still some good safeties out there. Deshaun Elliott, who doesn't look like he'll be coming back to Baltimore, he was a pretty good safety until last year when he got injured. And I even was bold enough to say Baltimore should franchise tag this guy because he wouldn't cost him that much, and he's worth the value. Now, they allocated that money to Marcus Williams, but there's still the potential they could bring back Deshaun Elliott, but that would be a really nice fit for them to go with Anthony Harris in there, a guy you can line up in the box, and Harris can play more of the coverage safety. And again, like everybody's upset Anthony Harris is back. I actually love the fact that he's back. I didn't think he was terrible for them last year. I didn't think they should bring both him and McLeod back, but if I had to pick one, it would have been Harris.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Harris at all. I'm just a little underwhelmed.
Yeah. I think everything's been underwhelming outside of Hassan Reddick. It's like, wait, we're really running it back? They're gonna go 9-8 next year. I mean, yeah, they're probably a playoff team right now. I got ranked the NFC teams next week. I don't know where I'm gonna put them. I want to see 6 or 7, but I don't know. Like it's. I feel like if the Saints had Sean Payton, I rank them over them. I don't think the Vikings are better than them. It's weird because the NFC South's terrible and the NFC North is terrible. So where do you fit in on this? And the Dallas Cowboys went down a notch. They have a shot to win that division next year. I know it's so underwhelming, and everybody's going, what's going to be the excuse this year? Yeah, they played a weak schedule last year. Well, yeah, that's usually what happens when you finish in 4th place. You play a weak schedule. I don't get it.
Another guy who's still out there that I don't think the Eagles are going to sign, but I know that he's going to get signed. What's up with Bobby Wagner?
The only thing I hear about Bobby Wagner is the Rams are interested in Bobby Wagner and Aaron Donald. Let's just get the only 2 guys with 6 All-Pro teams in the NFL on the same team. That's just scary. I mean, that's just reloading. If I was every team in the league should be calling Bobby Wagner right now. I think Bobby Wagner has earned the right where I can make a decision whenever the heck I want and with whatever team I want. If Bobby Wagner wants to go to Houston Texans, he'll go to Houston Texans. That's just the way it is. But I mean, I would call Bobby Wagner his second. I'm sure every team has. They're probably waiting to see what he's doing. He just reminds me of a West Coast guy, would stay out. But I'll tell you a team to watch on him, the Dallas Cowboys. I really feel like the Dallas Cowboys could make a splash there and try to get him and pair him and then put Micah Parsons up on the edge.
Well, here's the thing with the Cowboys. I was saying this earlier, Jeff. Do they even have the money to spend? Like,
they don't. I mean, you got to create it. You got to.
Do they know how to create it? Like I still can't believe they let Amari Cooper go. The dude is, during his few years, it's on the same production level as peak Des Bryant, Terrell Owens 3 years, peak Michael Irvin, peak Drew Pearson. Like the dude statistically and what he did on the field was a no-doubter. And he played more games than Michael Gallup. And he's in the prime of his career. They're like, we can't afford you. Like, what?
You should have all 3 of them for multiple years, just like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill were together for multiple years. Like, you're not helping your franchise quarterback here. Like, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, and his numbers are insane when he has those 3. Now he don't have them anymore. And yeah, you kept Dalton Schultz fine, but when you got a team right near you that was $75 million over the cap and found a way to not only get under it, but we found a way to replace Marcus Williams with Marcus May. We found a way to re-sign Jameis Winston, and we still could have had money to get Deshaun Watson. It's insane what Mickey Loomis is able to do with that team. And you got Dallas, who they just seem like they are the least prepared team heading in the free agent season every single year, and that's why they don't win championships anymore.
Just remember, Jeff, according to the Get Off My Lawn Eagle fan, Mickey Loomis is not a football guy.
Not a football guy. Well,
not a football guy.
Not a lot of these guys are. Is Andrew Berry a football? I'll tell you what, Andrew Berry isn't a PR guy.
No, he's not a PR guy, and Andrew Berry needs a lesson in just presentation. Yeah. Like he was slouched after the press conference. He's asking, can you repeat the question? Like, what are you doing, dude?
I think Stefanski was the winner of the 3 in that because he didn't have to.
He didn't say anything for half the press conference.
You know what? I was just hey man, I'm just the head coach.
I'm just here because I get paid to be here.
Yeah, I get paid to be like. I think he got like 2 questions and he probably answered them as best as he could. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I was hoping for a Baker Mayfield question. What are you guys gonna do with Baker Mayfield? He's still on your team.
Why is Baker Mayfield still in Cleveland?
Honestly, I don't think they want to cut him because I think they're afraid he's going to go right to Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin loves that guy. Absolutely loves Baker Mayfield. You can get him over Mitch Trubisky and get Baker Mayfield fired up to beat Cleveland twice a year.
Yeah.
I keep telling people in Pittsburgh, I'm like, as bad as I rank them, I can't count that team out. They just find ways, and they had a good offseason. It's just, who's their quarterback? That's the only issue. Who's their quarterback?
Well, Mitch is certainly better than Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, and Duck Hodges. So.
Ben was not good last year.
No, and they almost made damage. Let's be realistic.
I don't know how
you and I both know if the Steelers didn't play the Chiefs in the playoffs, they might have had a chance to win a playoff game.
Exactly. And I was amazed they were even in the playoffs. I wish I would have covered that Ravens Steelers week 18 game just to hear like that reaction. And like Brandon Staley blew it. He really did blow it. All he had to do is tie him. Don't call a timeout. I still talk to some Chargers players about that like.
I feel bad for Justin Herbert. He's had 2 straight head coaches who just are letting him down, man.
Sometimes, though, not making the playoffs is a good thing because if the Chargers would have made it, they might have said, well, we don't need to do much. No, we're going to make sure we make the playoffs next year and then some.
Yeah, now their defense looks legitimate.
Yeah. By the way, I almost I was really defensive on the Eagles today. And I said, when someone told me they were the 7th seed and they barely got in, I'm like, hold on a second. They got in before the San Francisco 49ers. They got in before them. They did not have to play anybody in week 18. They theoretically could have been the 6th seed. I'm not saying they would have won a playoff game because they wouldn't have, but I'm just saying they could have been that team that beat the Cowboys instead of the 49ers. It was very possible. There was still an opportunity there. They clinched their playoff spot before the last team that got in did. Oh, by the way, that team that got in went to the NFC Championship game. So
he's Jeff Kerr. Follow him on Twitter at Jeff Kerr CBS for all your NFL coverage. And he'll be back next week with Mike Gill when Mike Gill returns here on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, enjoy the weekend, and I'm assuming you'll be watching some basketball this weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy Villanova won last night. Normally, I'd probably be in Philly for this, but the tickets are insane. $300. I'm not paying $300 to watch St. Peter's.
Well, I mean, you're already spending enough money for Sixers tickets.
Yeah, that's true too. But see, I get good value out of that. I can't stand North Carolina. I'm not a Duke nor North Carolina. I can't stand any of them. I think it's the most overrated rivalry in sports.
Oh,
I can't sit there and watch UNC fans because I get the same response every time, Josh. What do you like? Whenever I ask them why they like UNC, well, Michael Jordan went there. Okay, why aren't you a Bulls fan? Simple as that.
Have a good one, Jeff.
See you, Josh.
That was great. I don't know what was better, saying that Duke, North Carolina is most overrated, or when he drops the mic and tells them, well, why aren't you a Bulls fan if you like Jordan, North Carolina? Like, he's not wrong. Jeff is not wrong on that. There's a lot of people who like North Carolina, but they don't like the Bulls. Wrap up the show. Coming up next, 97.3 ESPN.
There's only one place for live sports and sports talk in South Jersey.
Oh, yeah!
Your sports station is 97.3 ESPN.
It's time for the madness of hoops. Real sports bettors use the free PropSwap app to find the best deals on all their favorite teams. Every tournament, PropSwappers make thousands of dollars by simply buying and selling college basketball teams. And the best part is you can buy and sell on PropSwap without ever leaving your couch. Now is the time to find those Cinderellas while the odds are high. Jump on the PropSwap app, buy a handful of tickets, and enjoy buckets of cash and all the moments of madness. Cinderella stories happen every year, so download the free PropSwap app today and make sure you're holding great ticket to the big dance. It's easy. If you see a ticket you like, but think the price is too high? You can even submit a bid for a price you think is fair. Then buy it. The PropSwap app even has exclusive fantastic features like filtering listed tickets based on best value, a free activity feed to stay in the know with all the big sales. Join the real sports bettors on PropSwap today and PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app. PropSwap, where America buys and sells sports bets.
Matt Platt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot. Get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. The all-new Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online, mattplattnissan.com.
Okay, so we got the chorizo dumplings, the cucumber empanadas.
Zara's food truck is popping off.
Come on, guys, let's pick it up, all right?
But if she doesn't find a new chef, her truck will be stuck.
Carl quit this morning, so Jessica, I'm going to need you on the fryer.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. Ha ha! 5 weeks ago, with up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. So you need to change your oil. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Daily Protection or Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $36.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The winter of 2022 is officially over. Spring has arrived, and we can start enjoying longer days and warmer weather. Hi, Tom McAllister from McAllister the Service Company. While we cannot control the weather, we absolutely can guarantee that it's going to get hot. The very last thing you want to worry about is whether your air conditioning system is going to operate when it comes time to turn it on. Talk to the experts at McAllister about replacing that older, inefficient air conditioning system. We also offer Mitsubishi ductless systems for that room that never cooled properly, or are you just tired of those noisy window units? This is a perfect time to take advantage of 12 months 0% financing, preseason discounts, and rebates offered by the state and the utilities. Talk to the experts at McAllister at 609-927-4122 or at mcservice.com for all of your air conditioning needs. McAllister, we cannot control the weather, but we can control your comfort.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person talks about how great something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
I saved with a Progressive home and auto bundle.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
This week's featured bet is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. College basketball Friday night. Take North Carolina money line at plus 120. Bet all the action in style at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
All right, that's it. That's my week. 5 days filling in for Mike Gill. He'll be back on Monday's show here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Thanks again to Jeff Kerr, Paul Hudrick, Adam Caplan, Ryan Rothstein, Mike McGarry for joining the show today. Tomorrow will be Billy Schweim in the locker room at 10 a.m. And then NCAA tournament coverage begins at 6 p.m. If I remember correctly, here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Of course, Sunday, NCAA tournament going into Sixers. Then Monday, Sports Bash with Mike Gill is back at 2. And I'll be back on game night at 6 p.m. as I usually am, Monday through Friday on 97.3 ESPN. Yes, I have North Carolina tonight. Got the winning outright. Will it be another winner for yours truly? Remember, FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel Casino in Atlantic City. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Brad Quast joins me in the studio. Villanova moves on to the Elite Eight. The radio voice of the Villanova Wildcats, Ryan Fannin, checks in from San Antonio with his pregame analysis. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan from Vegas with his big plays for the weekend. Then we will talk with Hall of Fame sports columnist Dick Weiss. Dick has covered over 45 NCAA Final Fours, and we'll get his thoughts on this year's tournament. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.